Welcome back to the show.
Oh, I love a Monday.
So how was your weekend?
Fine weekend.
Yeah, good weekend.
The weekend is over.
Okay, so it's Monday.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Again.
Finally, let's get back.
Let's get back to it.
Back to what?
Back to what?
Work.
Okay, let's do it.
It's showtime, folks.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. We will begin with a little college football this morning. You're going to hear from Kalani Sitake coming up later this hour. 2 weeks down in camp, you'll hear from him. We got a little NBA hoops for you with David Locke in our next segment. But right now, we'll start off with Real Salt Lake. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, but didn't. They end up splitting the points after a 1-1 draw with Minnesota. The first half was lethargic. They couldn't figure out how to crack Minnesota. They made some adjustments at halftime, started overloading one side of the field, plus Minnesota got tired of running at altitude. It's pretty clear they just couldn't keep up. But RSL couldn't finish good chances. They had 4 really good chances. They only scored on one of them, and then they gave up a goal they never should have given up in the 89th minute. And just as they did Minnesota, they had 3 points right in their grasp. Minnesota gets a late goal, slips away, ends 1-1. That's what happened when they played a couple months ago up in Minnesota. That's what happened Saturday night. Definitely one of those times when it's a tie, it's a draw, but it feels like a loss. Should have had all 3 points, as Pablo Mastroeni pointed out after the game.
Pablo, with that injury, do you need to make a move in the window to bring someone in and play that spot in the long run?
Yes. We're like, so Dre is really the short-term option. Obviously not available tonight. And again, I think like just putting in perspective for me, when you don't have Jay Glad, you don't have Dre, you don't have Gozo, and you don't have Morgan Gillavogie, these guys are fighting like dogs to really make up for the loss of those guys. And so now that that Zach's out, now Dre needs to move out to that wingback position. We need reinforcements.
Yeah. Just to be clear, an injury like that to any player, but especially a player with his top-end speed, the stress he must put on a hamstring, I assume that's at least a month, but it could be more than that?
I think it's more 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. So, the majority of our games are in the next 2 months. So it's I think, a bit of a dire situation for us at the moment. And I think that was always the concern. Zach hasn't played a whole lot of minutes in the last 5 years, and now getting thrown in and how he uses his speed and the explosiveness in which he plays with was always a concern, at least in the back of my mind. So really unfortunate for the young man because he's been doing great, but the expectation is that it's going to take some time before he gets back.
Saba looks really good when he's out there, but you don't seem to play him big stretches in that. Is there some kind of limitation on the number of minutes?
No. I think, the way that Lineker played the last game, and again, I think you want to reward performances, and I think, especially for young guys, and what typically happens with young players that have 2 or 3 good performances and then there's a dip, it's because they're learning how to maintain that level, not just on the field, but off the field as well, how they take care of their bodies to be able to perform at that level. So this is a big learning curve for a lot of the young players. But that was the decision. It was basically he played really well last game, in particular in the second half, and just wanted to ride that momentum. But Saba's available, and he was bright when he came in.
Is there anything that kept Pablo Ruiz out tonight? Is that just rotating players? Is there something specific? Because you've been very complimentary of him. No, he's been great as well. I think that sub early days with Zach kind of threw everything for a loop. No one anticipates having to make a sub in 20 minutes. And the other part too was that we spoke about bringing Pablo in the game, but again, against this team in particular, set pieces are. This is what they play for. And so how much smaller do we get? So again, like when you make decisions on players, it's not just performance and how their run of form is, but it's actually about the opponent as well and what they're trying to achieve and where they're going to get their advantage. And so, I think, Noel's the organizer and Stein's the size in there as well, and he organizes as well. But I think that was really the decision with not bringing Pablo in.
So what was the message to the team? What was the mood in the locker room afterwards, and how did you address the performance?
Yeah, it was obviously a bit of a somber mood in the locker room. Again, I think when you have a couple good results like we had in our previous 2 games, you want to keep that going. And the really interesting thing about soccer, as in life, is it comes down to moments. And you hear me say this all the time. And there's 5,400 moments in a game, right? We had 3 chances in front of goal. So we played 95 minutes, but it was only 3 seconds that dictated whether or not we lost that game. It's fairy dust, DJ. It's pie in the sky. We can talk about all the tactical stuff and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, none of that, it's all insignificant. If you're creating those chances and you bury those, it could very easily be a 3-0, 4-0 game, like the last 2 games. You don't capitalize on that and you give up a soft goal, now it's a 1-1 game. So was the performance bad? No, it's not at all. And so that's what I said to the players. We capitalized on those 3 chances against the last 2 teams we played. Tonight we didn't. That is the difference. So, again, for me, the important thing is denying quality chances and creating good chances on our opponent's goal. That's it. The rest of it is all smoke and mirrors. And if we do that and we capitalize on it, we'll win the game. And so that's what I said to the guys, is don't hang your heads. You guys did enough to win the game. And that's the most important thing. Now, the execution piece, sometimes yes, sometimes no. But the one thing that is true is the commitment, the effort, and the belief was there. And so when all that's there and we create enough chances to win the game, there's nothing to be upset about. It is life. It is soccer. And that's why we play the games.
All right, there's RSL head coach Pablo Mastroeni. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're talking basketball with David Locke. Stay with us. All right, DJ PK, we're joined by David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
Really your favorite, isn't it, DJ? That's truly your favorite. Like when something like that happens and you see it and you get to just kind of point it out, like that underlying story, that just makes you so happy. I can feel it, DJ.
It really does.
That's what makes you the happiest.
It really does.
The question, though, the question really is, what makes PK the happiest? What's the equivalent that makes PK as equally happy as David James does when he sees that thing that has a little intellectual element to it and he can say, see, look at the irony there.
Well, I did point it out. I found the did you hear the first one?
I don't think David heard the start of this because I think he was on the phone with Jake.
Give him the first
this
one.
guy, Matt Carey, at Real Matt Carey on Twitter. People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't fathom. Of course we don't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $4,000 a person on SeatGeek, the official ticketing partner of Major League Baseball. James Earl Jones would love that.
Well, in this day and age, you can go have James Earl Jones do it.
Oh, the late great man. He would have. I think if you told him to go back there and reshoot that scene just for a laugh, he might have done it.
That's funny.
Well,
Awesome.
it's all in the quest for the dollar. I mean, we see it in stadiums that we're just shocked and it's abhorrent to fan behavior. Meanwhile, you can only buy 4 beers at one time. I mean, for $18. I mean, if you don't want that, stop selling that. But they won't. You got to make the money.
Oh no, I mean, it's all of it. I mean, I don't know. It's never not been that, though. I think it's worth, right? Like, I don't know that I think it's actually any more of that than it ever was, right? Like,
right.
No, you can
go.
go.
The Cincinnati Reds didn't put games on television because they thought it was going to cost. At one point in time, they thought it was going to cost them money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has never been anything other than a profit industry. The numbers are bigger. The mechanisms are bigger. It's just it's different, but I don't think, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's different. It's got different, it feels it, but I'm not sure I buy that it really is.
David Locke, radio voice of the Jazz, joining us. What did you think when you heard the Lakers were sold? PK's got a little background, talked to some of the people he knows in L.A., a little stories emerging. I'm curious what you thought and what you heard and what you know.
I don't know if you saw the thing today. We'll travel the most of any team that's not going overseas. You see that?
I did not.
So we'll travel 49,000 miles, which is the most of any team in the NBA that is not going to Paris. So San Antonio and New Orleans travel more, but they're going to Paris. I think that's because we have more plane flights than I've ever seen us have. I think we have between 13 and 15 single game road trips. So if you just think about it, like if you go on a 4-game road trip, you take 5 plane flights. If you go on a 1-game road trip, you take 2. And so 13 times at least, and maybe 15 if I remember correctly, but I'll go with 13. We go out for a single game and back. Now, the good news is twice those are Oklahoma City on the back end of a back-to-back, so we actually spend the fewest minutes possible in Oklahoma City all year, so that's pretty awesome. That's good to see on the schedule when you don't have to spend any time there. But I think, that jumped out at me. That will lead to a little bit more fatigue than before. I think the other one that jumped out to me is I really felt as though the team was going to need to have some sort of confidence boost. Like, I'm a really big believer that teams can get momentum and then just kind of win games off of it. And I felt as though we were going to need to have some sort of stretch fairly early in which we could run off a few so that the guys could feel good about themselves. It's just, we can talk about how good we think we're going to be and be hopeful to be how good we're going to be, but I don't know that there's going to be anything that lets these guys really believe it until they do it. So actually the open of the schedule is pretty great. Like if you run down, I think we're probably favored in 7 of our first 9 and maybe 9 of our first 13. And so that really gives us a chance to come out of the game and feel good about it.
DJ, PK, and David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, joining us. The Lakers sale.
May I ask you a question?
No.
Apparently.
What has everyone's thought about the midday Sunday? What's been the reaction to that?
I haven't really heard much.
I think 7 of our 41 home games are middle of the day games. It's a lot. It's like, I can do that math. That's like 20%.
We talked about Halloween. We haven't got much reaction on that. You're right. There are a bunch of other, there's a 3:00 game with Phoenix, I think. I saw. Or no, 3:00 with San Antonio on a Sunday a couple weeks later.
Yeah, there's 6 of them. Go look. We open the year almost every Sunday to open the season. We play it for 1, 2, or 3 o'clock.
4 o'clock rock. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock rock.
Conjunction, junction, baby. What's my function?
Hooking up words and phrases and sentences.
We're so old.
I get him to answer the Laker thing.
I don't think I can. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go for it a third time. I've been rejected twice, and
well, Honey didn't say yes the first time.
Oh, I know. I'm scarred by that. Trust me. It's true. She didn't.
Try again.
I'm
DJ.
just curious what you think of the Lakers sale, what you heard. PK heard some stuff. We've been wondering. It's just weird to see the Lakers treated like a starter home and then getting flipped every 10 months.
I probably don't know enough to comment on this intelligently, in the sense that one of the most interesting things I read is the tax benefit to owning these teams and how you can amortize costs and what it does for you is so incredibly valuable to these owners that actually a $2 billion profit over this time period actually doesn't make sense. I thought that was incredible, that it would have been a larger tax benefit for them to actually hold the team. That leads one to believe that the Department of Justice investigation or whatever's coming was principal to the reason why they sold. I think that seems to deductively make sense, that someone doesn't sell a franchise 10 months after they got it, unless there's something that's happened, and something happened. But I don't know it. I really don't know.
PK, tell them what you heard.
Yeah, and in my conversations with some folks down there in the L.A. area with my connections, still got a few, that Yeah, the guy who owns the principal guy with the
Walter.
That he took out some loans and he took them from insurance companies to buy the Lakers, and I guess that there's some issue there, and the SEC gets involved, so he's got to repay those loans. So he needs to sell the Lakers, and that Adam Silver is obviously aware of all this stuff, and the guys who bought it, the Kushner and Igor, is that how you say his name? That they were already in line to get the Vegas franchise, and since everything was already in order and they had everything what they needed, he just told them, "Hey, the Lakers are going to be for sale. There's a circumstance here. If you guys are interested, let us know." And they said, "Yeah, we're interested." And obviously they got together with the Lakers, and the thing was done in a quick manner because the other two already had everything, all their ducks lined up to get the Vegas franchise. And then, boom, now they're just going to own the Lakers instead.
Makes sense. I mean, that lines up to, that passes the smell test, as they say.
Yeah.
It has not been a great week for NBA owners. Did you catch the Matt Ishbia Wall Street Journal story?
I did. Yeah, that his mortgage company lost $600 million or something along those lines. But I know people in Phoenix, and they were saying, well, this guy's worth so much that they don't think it's going to impact the team. I have no idea if it is or it isn't, but that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he made a bet on something and it didn't work. Because the question what I've read on that one from the Wall Street Journal is, did he make the bet because he's desperate on some other things that he needed that bet to hit, and it didn't hit, and now he's in trouble.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of money to lose, no doubt about it.
Yeah. It's a different world.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Do you think the Blazers situation's getting worked out, or do you think the Portland team's going to be on the move? Bill Oram, who we all know from his time here in Salt Lake at the Tribune, he's been in L.A., he's been in Portland, he's been in plenty of NBA markets, and he's been all over the story, and I've been reading this stuff, and it seems a little doom and gloom-ish, and I'm having a little PTSD with the Chargers move. I'm seeing some similarities there. What do you think?
I mean, I could have the PTSD from the
Sonics move. So I know. That's why I'm asking you. I know.
So I think, actually the reaction I have to PK's story is, what does this do to expansion? If Iger and Kushner were lined up already for Vegas,
who's going to buy it now?
And now, who's the Vegas owner? And does that delay? Are there that many guys lining up to own teams? Maybe. They are really expensive right now. And so, does that delay the overall expansion? If that delays overall expansion, does that then play into this Portland conversation? Because one of the questions on Portland is, where would he actually move them? If Seattle and Vegas are occupied, then where do you go? Kansas City's not that appealing. And you can tell the NBA would like to go from Memphis to Nashville. I think they have Memphis playing some games in Nashville this year and doing some things like that. But I don't think they're going to put a different franchise in Nashville. There's been a great value, frankly. Jazz, Thunder, Spurs, there's three other teams I think have gotten big city money, state and city money, to make improvements to their downtown or their arenas, and different reasons, but I'm sure having Seattle sitting as an open market didn't hurt. And so it's an interesting question of whether this delays expansion, because the NBA actually likes having some of these markets open for leverage.
Maybe so. Now, this would be my only guess. I have no knowledge on this, but that Adam Silver and those folks knew that, okay, if we have this ownership transition to the Lakers, we take care of that, and we have other folks in mind for Vegas. Now, I don't know that, but my guess is they're not starting from scratch now.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if Keontae George, Darren Peterson, Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson, and Ace Bailey are on the floor together. Who's the best defender guarding? The worst defender guarding on the other team?
who's hot that night, maybe.
Yeah, and also what kind of size does the other team have? Because you got players that really, are you matching up with the 6'5" guy? Are you matching up with a 7-footer? But I get your point. They got to pick their poison and who's hot. And,
but I think you've got to put your best defender on Lowry or else he'll just physically dominate you, right? And then you probably put your second best perimeter defender on Keontae because he's got the ball in his hands. So either Ace Bailey or Jaren Jackson as your least good defender?
So you think Markin is a better offensive player than Jackson?
Yes. Much, much better.
Explain, please.
Well, Jaren Jackson's been a very inconsistent offensive player in his career, and he's not a particularly efficient offensive player, and he's not a particularly good isolation player. We'll find out whether Will can unleash some things the way he did with Lowry, doing more things on the floor than he's done before. But Jaren's career has had more variability year in and year out in offensive efficiency than just about any player I can find in the NBA. He's had seasons where he's been really positive, and then he's had other seasons where he's really inefficient. Now, it does seem to really swing on it, which it shouldn't if you're 6'11", and maybe that's the biggest thing the Jazz can do is get him a consistent enough inside two-point game and having him around the rim enough with high percentage shots that he's not as reliant on the three for him to be an efficient offensive player. But if you look at his effective field goal percentage, there are not a lot of players that have that wide a gap year in and year out. And it does step largely to three-point shooting, but I don't think it should. His little push game around the basket and his hook game are fine, but they're not great. And so how do you get him more dunks, layups, opportunities like that get his overall two-point shooting percentage up so he's not as dependent on his three? Somebody just has more to shoot the three on a catch and shoot in a way that Jaren can't. Lowry can probably, we haven't seen Jaren in the system, but Lowry comes off that curl in that pin down, either curling to the basket with that one power dribble to the rack. I'm not sure Jaren has that same explosion. Neither of them are good isolation players, and neither of them pass. So that will be really interesting to see how Will Hardy, who's, if you go back to his very early days, Will Hardy, you're going to play hard, you're going to pass. Well, there are not two players who average fewer assists for the shots they take than Lowry Markkanen and Jaren Jackson. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he does that. Jaren's a far superior defensive player, and I would say he's probably our best player, but on pure offense, Lowry's a better offensive player.
If Jaren Jackson Jr. plays with Jusuf Nurkic, there's going to be a lot of space around the rim to get Jackson really good looks inside of 5 feet.
Why is that?
Because I think Nurkic can operate off the top of the key. I think obviously you can put Markkanen out on the 3-point line. I think they can spread the floor for him.
Now, I'm probably not guarding Nurk, though. Like, if I'm the other team, I'm just not guarding Nurk. He can go play the handoff game at the top of the key, but I'm dropping my big into the middle of the paint. And so then Nurk's either going to have to shoot an 18-footer or play a handoff game with Keontae or Darren Peterson or Ace Bailey into a mid-range game, which as the opponent I'm fine. So then the question is whether you're playing a handoff game to pull up threes, which is a hard shot on that.
All right.
I'm not sure. I think there's way more room for Jaren on the floor if he's offensively playing the 5.
Oh, I agree with that.
I don't know.
Yes. I don't know. 10 to 15 minutes of that a night where he is the 5.
I don't know if we're going to do that, but it feels like that's the way the roster's lining up.
Yeah. All right, David, we got time to pick that up down the road. Thanks for joining us. That was a helter-skelter edition, even by our standards. That was something.
Well, I know what I'm talking about in the second part. I have no idea what I'm talking about in the first part, so I thought I might get us something because I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right, thanks, David.
See ya.
There's David Locke. When we come back, we'll go to Cougar practice next. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to head down to BYU football practice. Cade Uluave meeting with the media after the practice.
Yeah, I think credit to the offense. They had a good day, and they were getting us on some stuff. But yeah, I think Coach Sitake is definitely right that the offense won. But for defense, I think the defense played all right. I think there's definitely things that we could do better on and continue to work on, just like the little things. I think that's just we keep on learning. We got a lot of camp left, and we're grateful for the opportunity to come out here and go live a little bit, play in the stadium, and kind of get some as close as we can to game-like reps. But yeah, there's just little things that we need to work on. The whole defense, me included, just little things that are going to make a big difference. But yeah, offense had a good day. Credit to them. Defense is going to bounce back, watch the film, and just keep on continuing to get better and just move on from today, learn from it, and just continue to keep growing.
I also wanted to ask you, if I'm not mistaken, this was your first time being in Uluave Stadium to actually play in the stadium, play on the field. What was the experience like?
Yeah, it was sweet. I've been to Lavelle a few times. As a fan, but to be able to be on that grass under, looking over those mountains, and you got the just beautiful scenery there is. It was just cool. It was a cool scenery and just a cool environment to be a part of, and just kind of gives me a little taste of what it's going to be like, this fall. But it was awesome. It was awesome, and I loved it. And just looking forward to going there and seeing a live crowd, and I heard it's going to be loud, and don't doubt it. So I'm just excited to get out there and go out and play.
I'm sure you'll be able to dive into this more after you size up the film this weekend, but what do just your initial thoughts, Cade, as to why you thought the offense was able to get after you guys a little bit, as you put it?
Yeah. The offense, they played extremely well. Like I said, just credit to all of them. I think just, football is a sport where everyone has to do their job and do their 1/11th. And, especially when we play a good offense like our offense that we have, if someone's not doing their job, we're going to get exposed, and, the offense is going to find that. And so I think for us, just making sure everyone does their job, I think knowing your job and doing your job is super important. But just, like I said earlier, it's just the little things of, just being able to, win one-on-ones, know what you're doing, just making a play. And so, but yeah, like you said, we're going to watch the film and we're going to learn and come back and just keep pushing and keep grinding. And I think with the guys that we have on defense and the leaders that we have, that everyone already knows the standard and knows that, the standard might not have been met today, but it will be, because that's just who we are, and that's, the players that we have. So, but yeah, credit to the offense, but we're going to watch the film, bounce back, and get better.
Who's the green dot on this year's defense? Did you guys incorporate that into the scrimmage today?
Yeah, the green dot's in the secondary. With our safeties are the green dot guys. They kind of oversee the whole team and kind of can communicate. But yeah, that's who we have right now, and they do a good job at it and be able to communicate well across the field. But yeah.
Yeah, Cade, how would you compare this kind of first scrimmage of fall camp compared to what you went through at Cal? Is it pretty similar? Does BYU do things differently in terms of physicality and going live? How would they compare? Yeah,
I think they're pretty similar. Anytime that there's a scrimmage, on the schedule, everyone's excited, everyone's, hyped up, and to be able to go live is in camp is, you don't get that every day. So, those reps are very valuable. But yeah, it's similar like it was at Cal. I think, both, out here scrimmages are, pretty typical in camp, and you try to keep everyone healthy. And, but yeah, I think the physicality that we have here at BYU is pretty elite, and that, I think it's kind of a mindset thing of when we got to be able to be going with full effort, relentless effort every play. And I think that's another thing we need to work on, me included, just being able to run the ball, get to the ball, and just and make plays and stuff. And so, but yeah, anytime we get the opportunity to go live and to, be under the stadium is always a cool opportunity that we should take advantage of. And I feel like the offense did that better today, but I know that defense is, we always hit on being humble and hungry, and we're going to bounce back and be ready to go.
There's Cade Uluave. Now, here's Bear Bachmeier and Bruce Mitchell.
Yeah, we were gelling pretty well on the offense. It's a great deal when you got a great offense and a great defense going at it. But, yeah, I thought we had the upper hand today. Bruce played really well, and I thought all the guys were gelling, and we're in a great rhythm.
Yeah, and then Bruce, asked Kalani about this, the offensive line. He said some guys got banged up, but how do you feel just on the front line you guys performed overall?
Yeah, I think we had a really good day today. We've had some guys out with some just some fall camp hits, early on, some concussions and whatnot. But I think we'll have everybody back next week. And as an O-line unit, I think we played really well today. I think we're expected to. We got a lot of guys returning, a lot of experience. So it's just good to be back in Lavelle and work on that chemistry, making sure we got 5 guys on the same page.
Yeah, I guess for Bear first, and then maybe Bruce. Did anything kind of surprise you guys today as you kind of got out for the first time in pads, went live? Some of you guys, anything kind of surprise you or stick out today, Bear?
Not a lot of surprises. I mean, we were just really excited to, get in the stadium and feel the grass and just be out there with the guys. I mean, it's the best time of the year coming up, so we were just really excited.
Bruce?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say surprise was the right word. It was certainly, I mean, you can tell we got a lot of returners on the offense. I think Bear played great today. The pass game, the run game, I felt like we were moving the ball really well. And, I think our defense has a lot of talent too, and we all know that. They're still getting some guys back, but I don't think they played, terrible. I think, we were able to see we got a pretty good team, and it's only up from here.
Yeah, I got to ask Bear about the haircut. But you did it last year at the start of camp. Is that a tradition now?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get undercoated or anything like that, so I just wanted to stick to the dressing grooming standards.
For both of you guys, what was done to simulate a game day environment to get ready before this scrimmage? Kind of what went into all of this to simulate it like a game?
Well, we had a shorter practice yesterday. I mean, our process of specifically like in the quarterback room of looking at our play call sheet, what was similar to that of a game. And then when we were in the stadium, it's just a different kind of deal. It's a different mindset. And I don't know. I think the whole team kind of gravitated towards that, and we had a lot of situational periods as well to get those game-like scenarios. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Coach A-Rod's done a good job this week telling us that we're going to treat this like a game. A lot of times on offense, early on, you're installing a lot of stuff. You're making sure you're repping certain plays, but today it was spot the ball and call it. So super game-like, and then we just had our certain situations. Went through our pregame as a team like we normally would if it was a real game. And, yeah, so, I mean, that's as close as we're going to get to a game today until September 5th.
Bruce, I've seen a lot of the O-linemen wearing that shirt at the bottom. It says, like, FTP. What does that stand for?
It's kind of like a creed with us O-linemen in the O-line room. Yeah,
I don't know what it means. So if you guys find out before me, then that's probably messed up.
It's a creed, just something to remind us of what we want to stand for as an O-line, especially when things get going tough, and how we can rely on each other. But I think it speaks to the chemistry we have. It's just a creed we got that, something we all believe in and we came up with as a unit.
All right, there are the players now. Here's head coach Kalani Sitake.
Just got done with a scrimmage, and so just really happy with what we saw today, and got a lot of live work, 102 total plays, and ones went live probably half the time, and thud the rest of the time, and then the twos and threes live the entire time. So we had some good special teams work, but O&D work was the key today, and had some really good stuff. I saw some really good things from when I'm speaking on the offense, some really good things from the receiving core. So, I mean, I know that's what all you guys are going to ask about, but guys that I said to you before that you probably weren't common names showed up today, and with our receivers, our tight ends and running backs had a pretty good day running the ball too. So I thought Barrett did a great job with the offense. And just pleased with the way he led the team and led the offense today. And then some really good things from Trayson too, and also from Enoch. And So overall, I thought offensively did some really good things on the defensive side. The difference makers are guys like Cade and Glasker, and up front with Keanu, but Bodie. I thought the front seven was really good. Offensive line, defensive line had some battles. I thought offensive line was really physical today, and probably got some knockback on our defensive line, but defensive line answered. So this is a back and forth, but usually at this stage, offense is further ahead. I would say they probably had a good day today, but defense has had some amazing moments during camp today. It was kind of back and forth. It's hard because if I look at it, I shouldn't be happy other than because if I'm looking offensive and defensively, there's enough where I'm concerned, but it's because the other side is actually stressing that. So it wasn't because of a lack of execution or lack of strategy or teaching from the coaches. I was really pleased with what the coaches have done in all three phases, but offense and defensively, the mistakes were mostly because guys were actually making plays. And so defensively, I think we might have had a few errors that were like bad missed assignments, but for the most part in all the plays there, I thought they were pretty clean. So with that being said, they're gonna make it really hard for offenses to have big plays, but our offense did get some big plays, and most of that, we saw some really good things from the run game too. I thought young guys stepped up. Preston Rex had a pretty good day today. Same with Sion and Moa did some really good things. LJ was held mostly to the thud part of the practice, but Devon Ika did a great job today. I thought he showed his speed and his athleticism. The running back group all together. Journey did some really good things. Lucky did some good things. Charlie Miska, Logan Payne, all those guys. I was really pleased with what Harvey's doing with the running back group. But I think that has a lot to do with the O-line and tight ends and receivers blocking downfield. The O-line especially really physical in all three groups. So our 1s, 2s, and 3s. But yeah, kicking game was pretty good too. I thought Matthias Dunn had some really good things today, and Brody Laga did some good things too. But punting wise, we're Fuller and Cole did a great job. So it's pretty clean. I'm really pleased with everything and how it went in all three phases. The physical part of the game, man, we were really physical today, and so you're always worried about the result of being physical, but that's just what we have to do. So in terms of injuries, nothing too severe. We have guys that are banged up a little bit from today, but it's part of sparring. So we got to condition their bodies to get bruised up and heal within a week, and so looking forward to see how much they heal in the next week while we still practice and get ready for the season. So anyways, that being said, just really happy with the group, happy with the coaches, and man, they did a really good job. It's great to be back in Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and it's going to be nice. So what questions do you guys have for me?
Kalani, who would you say, which side of the ball after that opening statement, who would you say kind of won this scrimmage today?
I thought they had some moments. I mean, you probably give slight edge to the offense today because I thought the offense had more big plays that I would like to have seen from the defense, but a lot of the big plays came because of guys that made them happen. And so, I really, all the questions would be about the receivers. I thought the receivers had a really good day today.
And then, just to follow up with the wide receivers, Reggie Frischneck had 2 touchdowns, sound like, and is Reggie more in that wide receiver 1 mix for this team this year?
I thought they all had a good day. I mean, Kyler had a touchdown today. Tiger did some really good things too. So, Legend did some really good things. Terrence did some good things. So it's I thought overall, I mean, and a lot of it was because quarterbacks are doing a great job getting them the ball, the timing of everything, and then the O-line did a good job blocking and protecting. So. But receivers, I was pleased with the way they blocked downfield. That's why we were able to have a lot of success in the run game. But I don't know. You have to go watch the film. I think if you just come off the field, I felt like maybe offense had a slight edge. And then defensive coaches, maybe they're just more angry. They just get – I think they maybe thought they should have a shutout every time they step on the field, which is cool. That's what I like about K-Pop and his group. But So maybe I don't know if maybe the offense was had that much of a advantage today, but if you listen to the defensive coaches, it sounds like it because they're always mad. They probably just need to go to church and relax this weekend.
Thanks so much, Coach. Next question is going to come from Jay Drew.
Kalani, I wanted to ask you about special teams, which is, you have the fewer returning starters there than anywhere in any of the three phases. How do you just feel they're coming along? And have you identified some punt and kick returners yet?
Oh yeah, the kickers. I think Jay, they're doing some really good things, man. I feel confident in the two place kickers that we have, and so looking at the way I think the way Matthias has been around for so long that he's kind of picked up a little bit of the Will Ferrin magic, so he's kicking a lot like him and similar a little similar swing and strike on the ball and similar height, and so can't get mad at that, and then Brody coming off his mission has got a really powerful leg, so you're seeing them compete. I think it's getting the best out of both of them, but it feels good to have a veteran that's been around for so long that can kick, and just the way that the camaraderie and the connection that they have between each other have done a great job helping. And so and with the punting, looking at that Fuller's going to do a great job as our punter, and he's got a very strong leg, and then we have him as a veteran, and we have Cole. That's a good punter for us as a freshman, and then the snappers did a good job. Now in terms of snappers, Ty Smith and the group, I thought we've got three snappers that can snap, and then a couple others that are on the team that have ability to doing that too. So in terms of returners, I think. The guys that are starting to emerge, we're talking to Fessy and Justin, is you're looking at probably have it more down to Cannon DeVries and Tiger Bachmeier punt return and Legend Glasker, and also these are the guys getting the most of the reps in punt. So it's really five guys that are there, but guys have done it before, like Tiger and Cannon have an edge, but you see the why we want to have guys like Legend and Preston Rex and Shmev is doing some punt returns for us too. So those five, we're 3 weeks away. They'll figure it all out, and there'll be certain moments where we'll want one out of the five in a certain situation that we want to do in punt return, and then on kick returns, I think all those guys can kick return too, and you could throw guys like Devon Mika in there too, and we've got a number of guys that can play, can return on the two returner spot and kick off. So, not a lack of talent, just making sure that we do our part and get the right guy out there, and that's Fessy's job. That's why I put my brother out there.
Thanks so much. Next, we're going to hear a question from Jake Hatch.
Yeah, Kalani, you talk about your offensive line. You've got a veteran squad out there. How comfortable are you with how deep, I should ask, do you think you guys can go on that front line?
Yeah, we feel really good, especially at too deep. There's a lot of guys that have played a lot of reps. Some guys that are banged up, but they'll be back within the week, and even some guys got banged up today. But we had to be physical, man. We had to test these guys, and so we did it today, had over 100 plays, and I thought they did a great job. We just got to heal up. They'll be fine. It just, it was a physical day, so O-line and D-line got to heal up quickly. And the part is that there's injured and then they're sore. They're just really sore. So and they got to condition their bodies that they haven't been getting bruises and bumps and things like that all off season. So now we got to develop kind of some calluses in the body and get their body ready to heal quickly. And so that's 3 weeks out. We'll get them healed up and try again next week, do some more physical things throughout the week. But we just got to keep pounding on the body and make sure that we condition it for what's coming, in the season.
I also wanted to ask you, safety, Falatau is still on his way back, I assume, but do you feel like you've gotten any closer to rotation on the back end?
Yeah, we've always had a good rotation there. We did that in the last 3 years with Jay being here, and so Demo's doing a great job with the safety group. We got Rated and Winnie and Tommy getting a lot of the reps, but then you have The Kenan Poulos really starting to come along as a freshman. Jaron Kalama's doing some really good things too. And who am I forgetting? Guys like Crew Clark stepping up, Peyton Vanstenkist, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody that's. We got a lot of guys that make plays, and Fale will be ready to roll. I mean, he's moving well, and he'll be good by the time we get to the game. But we still have to work him in. And I just talked about conditioning your body. We got to get his body conditioned to get some bumps and bruises and stuff like that. And so we'll see how it looks in the first week, but he'll be ready to go. I have a lot of confidence in what he's doing, and I have a lot of confidence in what Demo's doing as a coach. Get them ready, and there's a lot of veterans there that know how to handle it.
Here's BYU football coach Kalani Sitake. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Name any other person that you compare to my level of a basketball player, wherever you have me ranked. If they tore their Achilles and missed 16 months, do you think that game would be on national television? Yeah. Yeah, you probably think so? Sure. Yeah. Do you think that game would be at home, if not on national television?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that game would be at New Orleans?
Wait, what? Oh, your first game? Oh, that's crazy.
No,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
When I saw schedule, I was like, oh, wow. Not shout Trey Murphy, love my boy Trey. Cool. New Orleans, but I was shocked to see that. But we move on.
That's Tyrese Halliburton on the Pacers' schedule. He's been disrespected. He's found something to get himself all motivated and fired up about, PK.
Who?
Nope. Tyrese Halliburton.
Isn't he like in his third or fourth team?
Well, I think he thinks that he was most recently in the NBA Finals, the Pacers. He's back. They're back.
But by definition, he wasn't in the most recently NBA Finals.
When he was healthy. No, you're right. He was coming back from his Achilles when the Knicks were doing their thing. But you got to find something to get fired up about, and everybody's got a podcast, so there you go.
I don't have a podcast.
You do.
No, I don't.
This is a podcast.
It's not mine.
It is.
It's yours.
It's ours.
No. I never listened to it.
You don't have to. You hear it when we record it. We'll do it live. Clippers re-upping Bradley Beal. Cavaliers trade Dennis Schroeder and cash to the Hornets for Trey Mann. Any of these moves all around the edges do anything for you?
No, we already talked about
Bradley. Yeah, Bradley
Beal
happened on
week.
Friday, yeah.
Schroeder's one of these guys, isn't he? He's getting close to the record for most teams.
Does seem like it, yes.
There's somebody else out there that I can't remember who it is, but if you said his name, I'd remember.
But they get to double digits?
Yeah.
Play for a third of the league?
It's a known player, but I can't remember. I saw this, and now I can't remember.
Let's see. Hawks, Thunder, Lakers, Celtics, Rockets. Back to the Lakers. Raptors, Nets, Warriors, Pistons, Kings. Cavs is 11.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, he's done the third of the league. Can he get to half? 4 more.
I mean, good for him. I don't think he's a difference maker.
32 years old. Timberwolves are going to finally retire Kevin Garnett's number 21 in February. They got new ownership in place. Grudges can be an ugly thing, PK. He should be retired, shouldn't he?
He is retired.
His number retired.
I did not know there was a grudge there. I have no idea on that one.
We were talking Basketball Hall of Fame, the wide range of people who go into the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. You've got college coaches in there. Mark Few is going in there from Gonzaga. Doc Rivers, Amari Stoudemire. The referee, Joey Crawford, is headed in.
The referee, huh?
The referee.
Wow, what a title.
The referee.
Yeah, that's why I think the NBA should have their own. Make it like baseball. Make it far more select. Nothing against those other folks.
Mm-hmm.
And good for them. But I think the NBA should have their own. Make it like baseball.
The comparison, if baseball had what basketball has, then Augie Garrido would be in the same Hall of Fame as Willie Mays.
Oh, I'd prefer Jim Brock and Bobby Winkles.
Jim Brock would be in the same one as is Hank Aaron.
Yeah. Sure. Right. And nothing wrong with what they've got, but I think the NBA should have their own. Be far more select. It's the NBA Hall of Fame.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Dumped off to Dean Connors on the right as he finds the end zone. Welcome to the Los Angeles Rams. It's a touchdown for Dean Connors. A 9-yard sprint.
They run it with Taylor. Tries to spin his way forward. Leans toward the goal line. Touchdown. The rookie Jamari Taylor has given Jacksonville the lead with 4:55 to play in the ball game.
Howell's going for a bundle. Down the right side toward the end zone. That ball is pulled down by Brown. Unbelievable if they give him the catch. Tie goes to the runner or no? Is it caught or intercepted? They're fighting it. And that's a 39-yard score.
Reed flushed out left. Pep fakes. Now he'll take off and run. Reed into the end zone for a Ravens touchdown.
Highlights around the first full weekend of the NFL preseason there. Fernando Mendoza threw a touchdown pass for the Raiders. A few guys having moments. Any of this do anything for you, PK?
Well, I try to look at the locals here. Zach Wilson, I think it was like 9 of 10 or something like that. He looked good talking about the offense that has been installed by Kellen Moore at New Orleans. And is there something there, it's fun to see the locals play because, he's probably not going to get much playing time during the season, and to see if he can stick. Because in order to play, you first got to stick, right? So that caught my eye, yes.
Lots of health news. Minnesota Vikings lose Jamal Adams for the season, knee injury. George Kittle, who got hurt, is returning to practice. Hopes to make it to Australia for the opener, although the early reports on his injury is he would not be available for that game, but he's going to try to push the envelope and see if he can get back for it. Jackson Dart got sacked, had to do a concussion test. He was puzzled by that. Does not want to be labeled the injury-prone player. So
he's only played one season.
Yes, but they were getting to the point where they were counting the number of times he'd been to the tent to get checked out. I don't think anybody wants that storyline, wants that label.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm with you. I think so, too.
Von Miller signed with the Dallas Cowboys, a 1-year deal, getting into his late 30s, but the Cowboys trying to upgrade that defense that helped them compile a losing record last year by being terrible. See if they've added enough new faces and turned things around there, but Von Miller goes into the mix in Dallas. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
What we don't want to do is, do anything that's going to disrupt any of those traditions. But when we look at all the things that go on that weekend, the way things have changed, there's some things that we thought about. And I think the first thing was if we want to keep that game, the much of that game, the focus on the game. And the more distractions we have, there's already enough distractions during that week. And so this was just one more thing that we felt like we could move. Then when we started to look at just, the way that college football is now, recognizing seniors, someone like Brandon Ennis is maybe a little different than Earl Little. And so we thought about maybe moving it up a week, and then we said, well, why don't we just recognize all the seniors at the beginning of the year, let them know how much we appreciate everything they've done, and then kind of move on with the season, and sort of a different way to look at it.
That's Ohio State head coach Ryan Day explaining why Senior Day, instead of being the 12th and final game of the regular season, will now be the first game of the regular season.
That's so stupid.
Making something out of nothing, something where there was nothing. They've won national championships and conference titles and beaten Michigan with Senior Day.
You want it off of the game and want those guys to be free and loose. What you're doing is you're telling everyone, this is the way it's been done at every high school, every college, forever. And so But, this is just a normal week playing Michigan. We want to do the same things we always do, but yet we're going to change this. So that screams right off the bat, oh, my gosh, this is a game we got to have. Buckle down, tense up, tighten up, brothers, because this is the most important game. We can't do what we've been doing forever. And all you got to do is just do it before the game if you don't want to have it be too much. And people will be there, and you'll cheer. And it's only every other year. What are you going to do next year?
Going to go on the road to Michigan. So you'd normally have senior day would probably be game 11.
Right.
Assuming you don't finish the back-to-back road games.
So you're going to change it again?
Yeah.
So we're telling everyone this game, oh my goodness gracious, we just got to have it. And the reality is, with the playoff, lose the game and win the national title. Would every fan trade for that? Yes.
So?
What a dumb idea.
Getting in his own head, getting in his own way, which I guess is good news for Michigan and Kyle
Or
Whittingham.
is he trying to play off Whittingham? Well, we hate these guys so much, we're going to even do it that day. Is he trying to one-up Kyle? Because if he's trying to one-up my guy, I'm going to hate even more, and I didn't think that was possible.
Due to your longtime loathing of Ohio State?
It's personal. It's not business. It's personal. Tell Mike I always hated him.
Mangling Godfather lines now.
Well, wouldn't you hate a guy if he's about to kill you?
Yeah, that would do it. I would think that would do it. You got me there.
That would change my outlook about my relationship with that man.
I don't get it. He's just chasing. What was that line that Bronco had about chasing shadows when you're working out the morning of a
ghosts?
Chasing ghosts. Chasing ghosts. Yeah, I think Ohio State's chasing ghosts with this one. Just usually introduce the offense or defense when they run out on the field. 12th, they just introduce the seniors and get on with it. It's not that complicated, but now it is. Northwestern getting ready to open their new stadium. They land a $35 million donation. Is this new era, new rules going to set up these smaller private schools who have really smart, wealthy alumni starting gazillion-dollar businesses? They're going to gain some power, gain some stature they haven't had here. They've been, the Northwesterns, Dukes, and Vanderbilts have largely been punching bags in college football. Now they've gotten better. Duke and Vandy recently. Northwestern has been kind of up and down for 25 years. More money, they can spend more. Maybe they improve their place in the world of college football a little more. We'll see how it goes for them.
I think they can, but at the same time, then the ones who have their place in college
football,
they're
still chasing Ohio State and Michigan.
Just double down.
Yeah.
And away you go. You'll always be chasing them. But who's to say? I don't know if it's private or what have you. It doesn't. I don't really care whether it's private or not. I mean, because we're seeing Texas Tech is not private, and they just dumped massive amounts of money into it.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Swing high drive right field from Kowser. It carries to the track. Back near the wall. This ball is gone! Home run Colton Kowser. It's another 1-2 pitch that bedevils the Rays.
Swung on a hit again. High and deep to right field. This ball's got a chance to go, and it's going for a grand slam. Brooks lead. A first inning banger to right, and it's 4-0 Twins.
Swung on a high fly ball. Deep right center field. Get me up, baby. God, a two-run homer for Ben Rice. And just like that, a 4-2 Yankee lead here in the 10th.
And the Yankees hold off the Blue Jays 4-3. They pick up the win. The Yankees trying to hold on to that wild card spot. They're in good shape. Well, they will hold on to the wild card spot, but who will they play, and can they catch Tampa to win the division? So they hold on and get the win 4-3. Heard the Twins, they're up 4-0. Yeah. Phillies came back and won 7-5.
Oh.
They're in a wild card race in the National League. 3 teams for the last 2 spots, unless the Cubs fade and make it 4 teams for 3 spots. Cubs did get beat by the Cardinals 11-4. Dave Roberts comments on the Dodgers pitch selection. They have been struggling now, either, depending on how you look at it, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. They certainly cooled off a little bit in July, but 5-11 over the last 16 games. They lost 3 or 4 to the Brewers. Milwaukee got them again. On Sunday, Dodgers lose 6-2. Pitch selection, PK, is that where it's at?
For who? The batters?
The Dodgers. The Dodgers chasing pitches at 2-1. Dave Roberts was talking about
So for the batters?
Yes. He's talking about Dodger hitters are going up there, not with a real plan, just a little undisciplined, and then getting fooled by stuff, falling out of the strike zone.
Well, sure, yeah. It's hard enough to hit. And then if you're going to make it harder, you have to have plate discipline. Absolutely. That's why those guys, you see them looking at the iPads during the game, and after they're at bats, figuring out what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's critical.
Go ahead.
Joshua Baez.
What about Joshua Baez?
You know what he did?
Nope. What did he do?
He was a rookie for the Cardinals.
Oh, yes.
And he hit 3 home runs.
Yes. On
and
Saturday.
All 3 different parts of the park. Center field, left field, right field.
In his first 3 at-bats, right?
Yes. It is the greatest debut in the history of a game that's been around for over 100 years.
Nowhere to go but down from here.
Well, he did. On yesterday, he went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. But he has a big kid, born in the Boston area, moved to the Dominican, and then came back, I think, when he was ready to go to grade school somewhere in there, maybe 1st or 2nd, 3rd grade, back to the area of Boston. So he speaks fluent English because he grew up here after spending about a little less than a third of his life in the Dominican, and obviously has Dominican roots there. And he's a big power hitter, hit 34 home runs in AAA this season. Had a game in which he had 4 home runs. So he's someone to keep an eye on, see if he can rejuvenate. Now, you've announced that the Miami Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals, who are only 3 and 3.5 games back of the wild card, but you've eliminated them.
Yes, I've kicked them out. Try to speak it into existence. Don't need them running down the Padres and Diamondbacks and making this more complicated and harder than it's already going to be. Although the Marlins just did beat the Reds, and they're 3 games over, so they got 6 weeks to make up 3 games. Certainly doable.
No, it's not. Now you changed your mind. You just told me it was a 3-team race. Now you're saying it's a 4-team race. Well, if it's 3 games that could be made up, then 3.5 can be made. Now it's a 5-team race.
Well, then make the Cubs slow down and make it a 6-team race and make 3 bids available for the 6. Let's open the door a little bit here, people. Cubs are currently 5 games clear of the Phillies and the Padres and 6 in front of the Diamondbacks. DJ and PK.
#BYU.
But I saw some really good things from the, when I'm speaking on the offense, some really good things from the receiving core. Guys that I said to you before that you probably weren't common names or showed up today. And with our receivers, our tight ends and running backs had a pretty good day running the ball too. So I thought Barrett did a great job with the offense. And just pleased with the way he led the team and led the offense today. And then some really good things from Trayson too, and also from Enoch. And so overall, I thought offensively did some really good things. On the defensive side, the difference makers are guys like Cade and Glasgow, and up front with Keanu. But Bodie, I thought the front 7 was really good. Offensive line, defensive line had some battles. I thought offensive line was really physical today.
That's Kalani Sitake talking about BYU and the Cougars. 2 weeks into practice now, PK. You hear more offensive guys. You think they're developing depth, or it's the lack of guys taking over? The eternal questions that
what do you mean?
Bother people.
Lack of guys taking over.
Well, on defense, when he talks about Uluave, or Glasgow, it's like, well, those are supposed to be the guys, and they ought to be the guys, and they ought to look good. And then on offense, the receivers, when it's different receivers, maybe they're developing depth. Maybe nobody's really taking charge, so someone just kind of makes a play here and there. They're going to have go-to guys. Is somebody really going to emerge as, with some star power?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find the answer to that in practice.
Just have to get through this.
Yeah, for them, these next 2 weeks are boring. No matter who does what, it's just the receivers too, because they've got established running backs, they got the quarterback, they got Bourguet as a backup, the offensive line is set, they got the tight ends they've been talking about, and Saliupaga and Lyons, right? So everything is there, and those guys are new to BYU, but they've got a little bit of a track record other places, I think SC and Oregon there. In fact, I know that's where they came from. And so with that in mind, receivers, they do team portion, which is basically live scrimmaging. Saturday was a scrimmage. In the old days, we would have been there. But new world now, you got to keep us out. Because I would run home and immediately call up Dillingham and tell him what I saw. But that's the way. Whereas Dillingham has a thing. He had it Saturday wide open. Anybody could go. He runs it like a pro team. And up there in Payson in northern Arizona, or at least high enough to where it's cooler. And so I don't care what they do these next 2 weeks. I care what they do in September, October, and November, right? And so until we get there, there's nothing that they can say that is going to make me go, oh, wow, that's awesome, or, oh, my gosh, this is hopeless. It doesn't matter. And because they're so established at all these other spots, it's just regular practice. And get through it as the calendar goes, stay healthy. Defensively, about the only question is Satawala. When is he going to be healthy? When is he going to be 100%? Every other position is set. And so you can build depth now. It's a great opportunity for younger guys to come along because you want a program. You don't want a season. You want a program. Next guy's in line, blah, blah, blah. And so get them as much as ready as possible, knowing that it's not games. And then we'll see who is it going to be. They're high on this Casper kid and obviously Phillips. I can go through the names, but we got to see it. And even week 1 against Utah Tech, it'll have some level of promise. But week 2, it's on. And then we'll see. And then they follow it up. And until we get to that, now we're basically in week 2, which is a month away. Today's the 17th, week 2, so a little less because I think it's September 12th, right? So until we get to that point and actually see it, we don't know. And I don't think it's hopeless, but I also don't think it's a slam dunk. It's somewhere in between, which is a wide variance. I think they'll be okay. Can they be really good in the throw game, as the dearly departed Kyle Whittingham would say?
Dearly departed. He moved to Michigan.
Well, he's departed.
Yes, I know, but dearly departed.
Yes, he's dear to me. I wish he was here.
Sounds like he's dead.
Yeah. No, he's dead to me.
He's not dead to you. He's never been more alive.
Well, some Ute fans he's dead to.
That's true.
And I'm a Ute fan.
But you're not one of those Ute fans he's dead to. You find this wildly interesting.
I do.
Oh, man. All right, DJ and PK.
#RSL.
Clearance blocked by Caliscan to Luna, headed into the area. Salons out wide, angle, shot, scores! He beats Calendar. Salons makes good and puts one in the back of the net. Harvey back to the keeper, Calendar. He crushes it across midfield. 89th minute now. Headed forward into the run of Perea. Out comes the keeper. Chip towards the goal. And in Minnesota has equalized in the 89th minute. Playing direct over the top. Perea accepting the congratulations.
Instant replay. Looked a lot like the first game in Minnesota. RSL got the goal, got the lead. Minnesota, very late, finds a way to score, avoid defeat, split the points. So these two teams play twice, and they take away 2 points. I always say, sometimes it feels like a win, sometimes it feels like a loss. That one felt like a loss. Yes, a little bit. If Almond Joy were sports.
I don't think that's the big story. I think the big story is your guy Booth got a hammy, I think, and then Pablo calling out for more reinforcements.
Yep.
I think those are the stories.
That is a massive storyline, and I think that in a lot of situations, it might be controversial if a coach, is putting pressure on a front office. But I think this is such a big story, it has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then they're playing DeAndre Yedlin out of position in that spot, or they're going with Dominic Marchuk, who wasn't even good enough to make the 20-man game day roster multiple times during the season. And they're going to need 2 guys for that spot because they're playing twice a week here. I think 6 or 7 more times this season. Certainly for the next month, pretty much. It's pretty much nonstop here. So they got to bring somebody in. And also the way he said it makes me think that some of that work has been done. As soon as you're moving Gozo, and he's not officially off the roster yet, unless the deal got done yesterday. But as of Saturday night, on the Crystal Palace end, they still hadn't officially. There's speculation that they might move people, and that might free up more money. And
I thought he was over there.
He is there. He's with the team, and he's done the medical stuff.
Well, but then he can't play here.
Exactly. So they don't have a roster spot to put somebody in yet until he's done. It's not done yet. He hasn't officially been transferred, even though he's there, and he's done the medical and is with their team. So they've got about 3 weeks to the end of the transfer window. So the deadline's coming, but they've still got some time here to bring somebody in. And it's super competitive in the West. They were as high as 3rd. They've dropped to 7th now. They're playing Dallas Wednesday night. Dallas won yesterday to leapfrog them in the standings. Now Dallas will have 1 day less of prep, and the game's here. So Dallas on short turnaround is going to be at altitude. I mean, in some ways, it really sets up for RSL, but the fact that they've got this, multiple guys missing at a key spot in the attack is certainly a big problem. They do get some guys back who are out. Yedlin couldn't play in that last game because he was suspended for yellow cards, and there's concussion protocol for Morgan Giavogi, so they had to start Lineker Rodriguez. So they will get some guys back, but depending on how you look at it, they're missing probably four starters for that game. Saturday, and still they had 4 really good chances to score and only converted one of them. So coulda, woulda, shoulda, but they walk away with just 1 point. Dallas at home Wednesday night is their next game. All right, DJ and PK, that's what is trending.
No.
What? Oh no, we got one more. Got golf.
#golf.
PK, it was a blowout. About time. Scotty Scheffler, who has been just top 3 or 4 over and over and over, gets a win and in a blowout by 8 strokes after getting a really bad break off a sprinkler head.
Oh, my turn?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Your voice didn't kind of slow down there. Threw me for a little loop. Yeah, he was dominant, man. And he said, I felt like a week like this was coming. Okay, I believe you. Yeah. I mean, 8 shots. These guys are all pros. His neighbor in Dallas, he lives in Dallas area, is Siwoo Kim. And he was in 2nd place. He said he shoots 68 and he gets smoked by 8 strokes. Wow. And he picks up a cool 3.2 million. And then I think he got 3.6 million, and he clinched an additional 23 million in bonus money for being number 1 in the FedEx Cup through this. Now that's the first week, and then they go on to continue this playoff thing. But yeah, he's something. And you got on the other end Rory saying he's feeling lost. And we know early, I forget which tournament it was, but he hit a shot. And Rory, the mic caught him saying, I suck at golf.
Yeah.
Which is not positive for the rest of us.
I know. You do not.
Yeah. So they said he feels, McElroy talking about how he feels lost and far away. Feel like he lost his golf swing a little bit. So we'll see how that goes for him. He finished 66 out of 68. Did not break par in any of the rounds.
Well, the thing with McElroy, a couple, is that it had been clear for a while he wasn't playing for the money. He had that quote, and it was about the season-ending, $10 million. I don't want this to sound wrong, but $10 million isn't going to change my life.
That was years ago, though.
It was. So for years he has not been playing for the money. He's been playing for golf history and for the Slam, and he got it. So What's he playing for now?
Oh, I think you're playing to compete. Each time you play, you're playing to compete. I mean, if you're not playing to compete, if that's not good enough for you, then get out.
Well, we'll see if he does that or if he gets finds something else to set as a goal and gets himself dialed back in. For Scheffler, you figure he just puts this on repeat here the next couple of weeks? Does he find something and get locked in here?
Well, I mean, I think he's been locked in the whole time. And that's the funny thing about him, because he's talked about how, 5 minutes after you win, what does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, he's been able to be a fierce competitor. And sure, I get the point. After you win, you go home and you resume your life. And, I'm sure to a degree at his level, there's some form of normalcy that can compare to the rest of us, particularly with 2 young children. But in the moment, he's really good about competing as best as he can. And, I mean, none of these guys really at his level are playing for the money. I mean, he's got just this week alone has set him up for a lifetime. Just this week.
Fact.
But it's the yearn to finish first that he has right now better than anybody. It's fascinating and fun to see.
Scheffler with 2 wins this year, runner-up 5 times, and another 5 times he's been either third or fourth. So a dozen top 4 finishes for him this year, capped by a blowout win in Memphis. All right, there you go. That's what is trending. The headlines are brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Josh Furlong. We'll talk about the Utes camp, Morgan Scalley, and how things are evolving up on the hill. We'll talk with Josh.
Also, the top 25 is coming out, and he has a vote.
Oh, what will he do?
Comes out at 10. Well, it's already out there. You can look at it. He's already published it. You can go to KSL.com and see it. Get his thoughts on why he put the Utes and Cougars where he put them, and so forth.
We'll talk with Josh at 9 o'clock. The question today is next. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The KSL Sports Zone and BI Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the BI Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest. Question of the morning. Why is BYU's Kalani Sitake your favorite coach's favorite coach? ESPN with a long story, and it goes back to what you said in the last segment, PK, where we're in that time where you got to write about college football and camps are open, but how much can you say about closed scrimmages and practices? So ESPN has a long story about how Kalani Sitake is loved and respected by so many coaches across the country. And quotes from coaches, and we know there can be beefs and rivalries, but man, people had a lot of glowing stuff to say in that story.
Yeah, and I don't think it was any timing and due to the stuff that we had talked about last week, because if you read the quotes and read the story, which I did, assume you did, that it was clear that the writer went to the Star at Media Days just over a month ago, and because everybody's available there.
There's only 2 ways to write that story. 1, you spend a long time as you do preseason stuff and you collect the quotes. Yeah. Or 2, you go to a media day and you run around and collect the quotes.
And that's what they're there for.
Right.
They're there to speak to the media.
And either way, this was done either weeks or months ago.
Yeah, it was done.
At the Star.
Yeah, because there was video and you could tell.
And you could tell the background.
Yeah. And this man is truly beloved by everybody. I mean, and I go back to Riley Jensen, who does the mental performance stuff and is a former player and coach and all that stuff, coaching his kids' teams now, talking about being authentic. And because of the fact that I literally covered Kalani as a beat writer 30 years ago almost, and that's who he was. And then he goes about being in the coaching business. I think he went to Eastern Arizona there, which Obviously, he's a junior college and then goes to Southern Utah, and then they bring him up here when Kyle took over, which is 22 years ago now. And then first time you see him, it's like you just saw him last week. And he just buddies up to you, to me, a nobody, just like he remembered me running around at the practice fields when he was playing for the Cougars. And a bunch of time had gone by, but yet, hey, oh, yeah, just boom, picks right up. And it's not phony at all. And then continues as a defensive assistant, defensive coordinator, goes to Oregon State, was it only a year or two? And then comes right back and been around him consistently now for many years. Text with him now and again and so forth, exchange funny stuff in lives. I told him once I went to a concert out at what's the amphitheater called now out there on the west side. And I run into a guy who recognizes me, and, practices are closed. But he says, hey, I got video. I was there. And he shows me. Well, the funny thing is he's got a cup of hooch in each hand he has to put down to show me.
He has a beverage that he wouldn't be buying on campus at BYU. Two of them, yeah.
And he's got his phone in his pocket and has to put him down and then shows me the video of them having practice, whatever it was. And so then I tell Kalani about it. He gets a laugh and makes a comment. I don't want to repeat it as far as what he said. Not that it was anything off color or anything, but and it was funny. We had a laugh over it. So he's just so personable that it's not phony. I've been around coaches who treat some people one way and then another set of people another way. I don't need to name names. We know who they are. But that's not who this man is. And so he is so beloved universally, but it's sort of funny that the timing of the story, it came out. It wasn't done last week. It was done weeks ago, and then they just chose to print it yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, when all this commotion is going on. And a lot of people saying, well, my gosh, everybody loves him. Why doesn't the AD love him? Blah, 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 blah. We know that in the university. Come on, man, you can't afford to lose him. I will say, I was thinking about this yesterday in preparation for what we're talking about. So many of the people on the staff, they're there because of him. That's an absolute fact. I can go down and check off the number of people that are there at that place and make vital contributions, and they're there for the primary reason is the relationship with that man. I don't think they can afford to lose him.
We know some of the names. Obviously, not everyone has the same public profile, so it could be true for someone on that staff, whether they have a big name and a high public profile or they don't. Mm-hmm. But clearly, someone like Gary Anderson, who walks off the practice field the first time the media sees him, like, all right, go ahead, because he's wearing a BYU shirt and BYU shorts and a BYU hat. Go ahead, give it to me. Let me hear it. We all know, he's a Ute. And he played there, and he went back and coached there and all that stuff. And so he knows it looks weird and all that, but it's all trumped by the personal relationship.
He's a Kalani guy.
Yes, he's a Kalani guy.
And Gary
they were at Southern Utah together.
And vice versa.
Yeah, they were at Southern Utah together, and Gary had a chance to hire him there when Gary's profile was growing, and Kalani needed a foot in the door. I think Kalani had been JC ball down in Arizona.
I just said that, Eastern Arizona.
I forget the order, but yes. Some of these coaches could never have this kind of story written because they're introverts. There's another group that's so obsessively driven they can't lighten up and have fun the way Kalani can. I mean, they quote in the story, about Deion, I liked you better when you were a Niner than a Cowboy, which is probably not what Deion hears a lot. Probably hears a lot, Cowboys are so popular. Most people probably love that era, and he was there longer.
Yeah, but the Niners were really popular at that time, too.
They were.
Because they were really good.
Yeah. But he was in and out of San Francisco pretty fast, I think. So.
But he won a bowl, didn't he?
He did. And then he went right back to Dallas and won another one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's a superstar as a player.
But there are people who just can't I mean, Ryan Day is he's wired too tight. I just don't think he's going to have a lot of those conversations. And I think Kalani does have a lot of conversations like that. They getting quotes from Rich Rod and, people who've crossed paths with him multiple times in multiple places.
Yes. Sonny Dykes.
Yeah. And you just think of all the coaches you've seen at podiums. I mean, Saban, because just of the sheer volume of it. Just so detail-oriented and so intense and so... I mean, people have a fondness for Saban and they appreciate his contribution to the game, but he's just not going to be as warm as Kalani. There's no way. He's not wired like that. So I think why is Kalani your favorite coach's favorite coach? He's wired different than a lot of them. And doesn't mean he isn't detail-oriented. I mean, they went into how much he's won.
Well, they're winning a ton.
Yeah, and they've got the most wins at the power level without a playoff berth, the best winning percentage over the last few years.
Somebody chose to keep him out.
Yeah. So that can rub people the wrong way, when you're beating them. But it doesn't. And rivalries can rub people the wrong way. We've seen that, but, that quote's from Kyle in there. It doesn't. But I think the fact that he's an extrovert and he's just so...
the word is authentic.
Yes.
He is authentic through and through.
Right.
And it's legitimate. It is not phony.
And coaches are out there so much now that if you are, or to whatever degree you are, it's hard to hide that. It's just so... It's such with the recruiting and the media demands and the booster demands, you just can't hide. You got to be out there. And so if you're inconsistent, people are going to realize it. And he's consistent, and that's why you hear the word authentic.
And he's
around.
won.
Yep.
And he's won a ton. And the public support for him right now, if this is a battle between the administration and BYU, which I'm not saying it is, but some people perceive it as that, he is winning in a landslide. This is a Reagan Mondale. Those are two presidential guys there. We'll get to you in a minute. Pay attention.
49-1. Just remember that as the final score. 49-1. We'll explain later.
Today's a new day. The dawn of a new era has begun. August 17th, 2026.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 at 1280 The Zone. We spent a segment at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Jake Hatch's final segment as our producer, because then he went to his goodbye party, or as it's called around here, the donut funeral, at 9:30. So now, PK, brings up the question, who's punching the buttons on the other side of the glass? What's their deal? Have you given them a nickname yet?
Well, Alex is our new guy, but I just can't call you Alex. Do you know how many producers we've had, so where you are in the lineup? Take a guess.
Either 6 or 7.
Nice. And that was a thing there for a while.
You heard us talking about it, didn't you?
I think DJ told me on Friday.
Oh. So you are our 7th producer on this show, which began in 2002.
Lucky number 7, baby. Lucky number 7.
So do we call him 7?
You could.
Or we call him Sevy?
That one's taken by a legendary golfer, but, maybe it's time to bring it back around.
He's dead.
He is.
Died way too young.
Absolutely.
Because you got to reduce everything to one syllable. Do we just call him Sev?
we could do
or
that.
do we just call him Kid?
I hit him.
He's 26 years old. You're old enough to rent a car.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Barely.
Yeah. You're not old enough yet to run for president.
9 more years. 9 more years.
And you had no idea who Reagan and Mondale were.
1984 election. Reagan carried 49 states. Mondale was from Minnesota. That's the state he won. There were no blue states and red states then. There was Mondale's home state, and there was everybody else.
And I insist, Kalani is Reagan, and the administration is Mondale.
Mm-hmm. That's why 49-1. There you go.
So it's a new producer. This is a new day for you. This is the time you have graduated, and now you are full-time. Your career is ready to get underway, and you have to work with the toughest guy in sports, me.
That's a challenge I'm looking forward to.
Oh, man. I like it.
Great. I don't know if PK knows, but I had a nickname for you because originally I didn't know your name. Had a bunch of producers start all at once, and sometimes there was one game where I literally think I looked down and just swapped producers in the middle of the game. I didn't know who it was, and I couldn't talk to him. We were on the air, but he always took charge. So quickly, I nicknamed him the captain. Captain,
and that stuck.
It did for whatever reason.
To this day, we walk each other down the hall.
Yeah,
Captain.
That ended up amusing us for reasons.
So we call him
really
Cap
clear.
because I can't do two.
Sure, yeah, you can call him whatever you want.
Oh.
I mean, the nickname may still be out there. Something may happen in a week or two, and that may have to be the nickname.
What are you talking about?
I mean, Jake was Yak, but then suddenly he was Judas because something happened. I mean,
yeah, but Yak was the name.
It was. Yeah, Yak was it. He was French. Yak.
That was with Pirtle. Was Jakob Pirtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled the same, but he was
Dutch. I don't know.
He was always Jakob. I think Pirtle's Austrian.
Okay, there you go.
At that time when he
Over
was,
there.
and the Utes were having a good run then.
I struggle with my European geography.
They had some multiple tournament bids. So they were.
Yep, had a couple of them.
Yeah, so I think
Had a
that's
Sweet
where
16.
that's from. I'll go with whatever you want. I assign enough people nicknames to where I will.
I'll
acquiesce.
I say we see how it goes. Something may happen, but for now, Captain.
But I can't go two.
No, you can go Cap. Again, it'll evolve. We'll see what it'll become here.
But I also like it a little bit when the recipient of the name resists, because that makes me want to push harder.
Well, we'll see what you come up with. I'm sure you could come up with some nicknames he would resist and some others he'd embrace.
Well, yeah, man, I can call him Doofus, and we can call him Doof
Right, yeah.
for sure, but I don't want to do that.
Right.
No. I'm not willing to assign that. I mean, people around here just praise this guy up and down, so that makes me skeptical right off the bat.
He's got a good work ethic, and like Kalani, he's a people person. He can be out there. And
Yeah, but I got to
entertaining.
see it. I'm a little skeptical right
it.
now.
I get it.
I haven't been around him that much, and normally my first instinct is to not like people and then see if it can change.
That's true.
Yeah. So I like to keep them at arm's length.
You just got a little bit of truth right there. You
And
may not
then
have
if they
recognized
can
it.
prove themselves, then I can
Open the door and let him in a little bit.
Yeah. But this is a very, very tight circle here.
I think I just went Paul McCartney and Wings right
So you
there.
better not suck.
I will try not.
Telling you that right off the
try
bat.
not to suck.
But he actually is. That's not just something you say. I mean, we actually had a meeting, and your whole attitude in that was, what do I need to know? Like, it's all second nature to you guys, but I don't know. And you're delving into details. And I came up with a couple more during the morning here. We can talk about those. Because you're right. It is second nature. I don't even think about it. I'm like, why didn't you do that? And I'm like, well, I haven't talked to him about that. What is he, psychic?
And
doesn't make any
here's
sense.
the basis of the show. We talk hardcore Utes, Cougars, Jazz, now hockey, some Utah State. And when things are in a lull, we make fun of him. So, and I count on you in supporting me and making fun of him. It's a formula that's worked. We're getting our 25th friggin' year.
It's one of the reasons I like football season. There's so many stories, and then the Jazz and now the Mammoth are here, and their third season here in Utah will start up, and there'll be too much, so I catch a break then.
Yeah, but one listener one time said to me, I really love it when you give DJ bleep. So.
One listener one time. That's it, huh? Okay.
But he was speaking for many.
Probably.
And he was a former U of U athlete, no less.
So, Alex, let's get to it because people want to know you. You're going to be in their car or, sitting in their office while they listen on a podcast, whatever they're doing. So, did you go to high school in Utah?
I did. I grew up in the Kearns area, and I'm a graduate of Kearns High School.
Kearns Cougar. Okay.
Kearns Cougar.
Because Yak was a Mountain View Bruin, and there you go. All right. Play junior jazz?
I did not play junior jazz.
You're the one.
Yeah, I did not play. I played mostly soccer growing up and then played football and soccer in high school.
Okay, the soccer, that's one strike against you, so you only get 3.
Ooh. Rough start.
I don't mind that you played it, but, it has its place, but it's down the pecking order.
Football in the fall, soccer in the spring. What was your winter sport?
Oh, I just weight training mostly. Just,
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So you had an opportunity right here. You should have said women. Because that was my winter sport.
Okay. Sure it was.
And snowballs were flying.
In Phoenix.
We'd go north.
I did see randomly on social media, you've always, what do they call that? Camp Tana, what is it when Arizona State goes up in the mountains?
Figure it out. Camp what?
Tanazona?
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Yeah. I wasn't sure yet. So it looked like it was forest right down to the fields. Was that some AI thing I was looking at, or is that the deal? That reminded me of a small school in California, Humboldt State. The forest right up to the edge of the field. Really cool.
It's a practice field, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's like a national forest up there.
Awesome.
The cacti is only down below.
They had a drone up there high.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah. And it's cooler up there, and there's a stream and the whole spiel.
Yeah. Didn't seem like there was a whole complex around it. And it probably is. I mean, they must have locker rooms and stuff.
Very barren.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like a boot camp type of situation. Bugs, the whole spiel. Bugs crawling on you while you're sleeping. It was cush. It was designed to toughen you up, man. That was the whole point of that thing. It's not 5-star resort. And they asked the athletic director, are they going to spruce it up any? No. This is the way it is. It's not a high priority to put a lot of money into this place. So that's what they do. Yeah. Kush used to spend a lot of time up there with the team. And then idiots who came along later and didn't understand it wouldn't go. But Dillingham, who understands it because he grew up there, has got him back up there. They only go for like 4 days. I think they go like on a Thursday and come home Saturday night.
Mm. Beat the heat, change things up. There you go.
And then they get people to go up because they're looking to get out of there. So they had 4,000 or 5,000 folks because they can't really fit much more in there.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. 1 hour from now, Josh Long on the Utes and his top. Excuse me, why did I say Josh Long? Josh Furlong on the Utes and his top 25 ballots. Stay with us.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The AP Top 25 is coming out at 10 o'clock. Perfect for Scotty G and Tim Lacombe. Something to talk about right at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. That thing will drop as they say. Used to be published, and then it was posted, and now it drops. Same thing. It'll be revealed. You were a voter for a while, PK, and obviously, times have changed, and now we've got to the NIL and the transfer portal to mix everything up. It's always been difficult because there's always guys emerging, and then there are people who are going to be injured, and so that can wreck the preseason stuff. And depending on if you want to praise the posters or rip them, you can spin this thing multiple ways. Putting Penn State number 2 and their coach gets fired, and putting Clemson number 4 and they had a dreary season, and then putting LSU at number 9 and their coach got fired. You can certainly say, they blew it. They don't know anything. At the same time, the 10 Power 4 teams that made the playoffs last year were all in the preseason top 25. So you can ballpark it, get some, who the contenders are, but it's really difficult, borderline impossible to sort this thing out.
Yeah, but this is a preseason poll. It's not a postseason poll.
Yep.
And so the way you approach a preseason poll is who has the most evidence to be good,
Coach,
who has the most returners.
Coach back, coordinator's back, quarterback back, how many starters, what percentage of your O&D line, because you got to win in the trenches.
Now it's up to the team to fulfill that destiny. It's not up to the voter. The voter, in this case the Associated Press, which is a bunch of media folk, they look at the evidence. It's not, they don't know what they're talking about. No, that team didn't perform to the level that it was supposed to. It's not on the voter, you're stupid. I don't look at it that way at all. And by me, I'm biased because I'm a media member. I get that. Mm-hmm. Everyone has bias. Once someone tells you that they don't have bias, you've been lied to. Yeah.
Truth is a big ball.
Everybody has a form of bias.
You can never see the whole thing no matter where you're standing.
Yeah, like you hear, oh, I'm not prejudiced. Well, you live in a community that's all your people that look like you, act like you, talk like you. All your friends are like that. Hey, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. But they'll tell you that. Everybody has prejudices. Everybody has biases. It's a question of whether you act on them, and hopefully you don't. And in this case, I've got a bias. Yeah, I'm going to protect these guys and people, gender neutral. And with that in mind, I don't look at it and say, oh, man, you didn't know what you were talking about. No, that team had things happen. The Devils were picked 11th last year. They didn't get anywhere near the final. Well, Levitt was injured most of the time. The starting running back was injured. Jordan Tyson was injured. And away you go. And they probably weren't as good enough. Our history shows they don't normally follow up a good season with another good season. So with that in mind, that's the way I look at it. And we'll see who is able to fulfill what the expectation is. Because that's the thing about it. Expectation is set, but this stupid poll. Everybody thinks it's so stupid, blah, 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 blah. But you're held to that. How come you didn't live up to it?
Ask Penn State. Ask LSU.
Not Bob from Oshkosh was dumb to vote you 12th. That's not it. It's how come people thought you, and it's not just one because they got a slew of them, that voters, that the consensus was you should have been this good and you weren't. Penn State would be the classic example. Clearly it mattered because they fired him.
That's your first clue.
So during the season, no less, when he had just been to the playoff the prior year, less than a year earlier. So to say these polls are stupid and meaningless, no, they're not. Because Franklin, if he would have been others receiving votes, would he have been fired? No. I don't think he would have. But expectations were then set, and you're held accountable for them. Because Bob and Oshkosh thought you should have been number 2. I guess that's what you said they were.
Penn State was 2. Yes.
Right. So that's if he was not in the poll, do you think they get fired? He gets fired in, was it October? And he has another job before the season ends?
He'd been in the semifinals the year before.
Yeah. That was about as crazy a story that you can get. Is he gets fired, they go on a losing streak. And he gets fired, Franklin, we're talking about. And then he has a job before the season's over.
At a place with lower expectations.
Yeah.
But
now they're going to be increased.
Yeah, they are going to be increased. And a place that, even though they have lower expectations, they still have expectations.
Of course they do, and they should.
Yeah.
What's the point of having a program if you're not going to have expectations and have accountability? It runs both ways on everybody, not just the head football coach, everybody. That's what we're doing on with this BYU situation right now. Accountability and expectations. And Kalani not backing down and talking about, hey, we're on the doorstep. Well, we want to throw that door open and go running, sprinting through. Here's what we need. You haven't done what you're supposed to do, according to Kalani. I do think it'll get worked out, and I don't think people should be losing their jobs right now over it by any stretch. I mean, a guy's barely into it. Why'd you hire him if you're going to fire him so quickly if you didn't think he could do the job? So and I'm talking about Brian, obviously. Give him time, see what he can do here. All right, it's a little bit of a mini crisis. So be it. And it's not going to be the last one. These jobs are high pressure, high profile. And let's see how he gets this crisis through, over, done, whatever it might be, and where do we go from here? Or does it freaking derail the season? That's a possibility, too.
Certainly we can look at places where there have been conflict, crisis, whatever the word you want, between ADs and coaches, and it does derail things.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can look at, right in our backyard, we probably had the longest run of an AD, certainly 2 or 3, with Chris Hill. And, man, there were some flashpoints along the way. And when you were on the beat, the conflict with Majerus, changing football coaches with the MAC, the state legislature doing their audit, The basketball team stopped playing, with Utah and BYU. I mean, you can come up with all kinds of flashpoints along the way.
Crystal was in the fire for many times over.
It's
was it 30 years?
Part of the deal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And we saw it. We were all front row to it.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Absolutely. You got to negotiate, and those are just the public things.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, these are the high-profile public things.
Right. There's
Forget the
probably 25 other things that he could tell us.
Yeah, lower profile, but the whole thing with the swim team, and and you're right, the stuff that never came out at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's the nature of the biz here. So away we go, and it's funny that this poll that we're told is so meaningless. I disagree every time. Every time I hear it, no, because expectation, and the coaches have made such a made it known that the sports information guy or the administrative assistant or whomever, they're the ones who do the actual voting. But the AP, your name is assigned to it, and now, and Josh Furlong is our local guy. We'll have him on here in 45 minutes to talk about his thought going into the poll. And the polls are public knowledge. They're not secret ballots.
Nope. No, you got to answer for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you can fight that, but there are multiple people, and Josh is on the list, who've turned around and embraced it. It's like, all right, they want to know, well, then I'll write a story and I'll get a ton of clicks. And people who scream about clickbait will then click on it and this is, most of the time when people scream about clickbait, they're up in the night. Not always, but a lot of times. But this is one people embrace. And yet this really is just written for the clicks. Like, you want to hold me accountable and yell about it, I might as well explain to you what I'm thinking, and then you get a ton of traffic out of it. But the thing is, that gets down to what the whole point of this. There's so many of us who anticipate football season so much, and when it's close, we want to talk about it. Then why are you going to get mad at somebody who says, all right, I'll write something for you to talk about? And I suspect when Josh comes on, he's going to say, well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but he ballpark explains it. And we know ballpark who the teams are. It goes back to the thing, hey, there's 138 teams, but come on, how many of them are going to the playoffs?
12.
Right? Yes. But how many even have a chance to go? And
I think that's what we were discussing the other day.
That's the thing about a 25-team preseason poll. Like the 65 voters, to your point, it's not one person's opinion, right? It's 65 people across the country voting.
Mm-hmm.
And
all regions.
In their 25, in their preseason 25, they had all 10 of the Power 5 playoff teams. And the two teams that came from the group of 5 were in others receiving votes. They were also identified to a certain degree. Tulane got votes. People knew, okay, they got something going there.
Tulane and James Madison at their levels have been good programs.
Right. Yeah.
You can go to the NFL from there for sure. And they've got excellent programs at their level. That's the thing about it, is that there is some truth to it. And every year we know there'll be teams coming, I don't want to say coming out of nowhere, but overachieved expectation and underachieved expectation. And that word expectation is such a fickle word, but yet it's out there, and that's how we see it. One man's 8-4 is not another man's 8-4.
That's true. 8-4 at a school that's been down.
If Oklahoma State goes 8-4 this year.
Yeah. Well, Vanderbilt just got to that level, and they were super excited. And it's a crisis at Ohio State if they go 8-4.
If Colorado goes 8-4
celebrate.
This year,
they'll celebrate.
They should.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. But if BYU goes 8-4, if Utah goes 8-4, if Tech goes 8-4, no.
Disappointment.
Yeah. Right. Now, there are also factors within an 8-4, too. All factors aren't the same.
I think what you said about Arizona State. You know they got a really good quarterback, and when he goes down and he's injured and you realize, okay, this isn't a one-week deal, which is what they had the year before when they won the league. He got hurt and missed a game. Cincinnati, maybe? I can't remember who it was.
It was Cincinnati,
Cincinnati,
and they lost the game.
Right. They lost the game, but it wasn't a crisis because it was a one-week deal.
It's just a one-week deal.
Right, but once you find out it's your quarterback, your star running back, your left tackle, your star pass rusher, and you find out it's multiple weeks or season ending, now you start adjusting expectations.
Right.
And I think the fact that even though it wasn't a great season for ASU, the fact that the wheels didn't come completely off, you're not looking at 2-10 or 3-9, and you have a marquee win over Texas Tech, the only one to take them down. You're like, okay, I get it. They had a big week. They didn't completely fall apart. They got the marquee win that everybody loved, but they couldn't really win big because they didn't have their guy.
Yeah, so be it.
Right.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. So when you're addressing the expectations, why you didn't deliver, makes sense.
Right. So
I actually was just reading a thing this weekend, one of the many preview things and all that, and they were talking about Dillingham being a wizard, basically, because the backup they went with, he was a sixth-year guy.
Jeff Sims.
And it got far and away the best production of his college career. And like Dillingham is just, that dude's a wizard. You got Sims in there, and hands down the best football he's played.
Yeah, see what they can do.
A, teach him something, and B, set up the offense so it plays to that player's strengths.
Well, that's
get the best out of
coaching right there.
And he's got a real knack for it, and it's why I think ASU's model going forward here under these rules with these, so the rest of the decade with Dillingham, assuming nobody poaches him away, is when everything goes right, they're going to be playing for the league title. And when stuff goes wrong, they're not going to fall further than the middle of the league because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we shall see. It does look like they're in a stable spot. And you have to you constantly have to grade on a curve because things happen in this business.
Resources are different. In the very beginning, resources are different. And as the rules change, that same thing I was reading was going through all 100 with one of these deals that goes over 138 teams. And they pointed out how Appalachian State had, with like 3 different coaches, they had a recipe that worked for them, like we talk about our local schools having a recipe. Multiple coaches came in and knew it. They were winning. They had their win percentage versus everybody else. It was glorious. They had the marquee wins at Michigan and Texas A&M. But the second the transfer portal and the NIL thing, everybody in college football knew go poach App State kids. They are identifying them young. They are coaching them up. Go get them. And they had the numbers on the transfer portal. And once the rules change, everything, and you got to change your expectations. And then they've largely become a 500 team since the rule change. They don't have the money. And they can't hold on to players. They're losing good sophomores.
Yeah. Okay. I can understand that.
And that's why you have to grade on a curve. And App State's just in a different place now than they were a decade ago. And so you got to grade on a curve. And it's it's obvious, Ohio State and Texas have advantages that Vanderbilt and Northwestern don't have. So you got to grade on a curve. But that curve does flatten out a little bit when Indiana, who's not supposed to have any advantages, comes roaring out here with 2 years. And I find this whole Drew Mestemaker thing, there's a thing out ESPN has about, maybe it wasn't ESPN, but about the most overrated people in sports, and he's being hyped too much. He's a quarterback who transferred from North Texas to Oklahoma State. It's like, man, there's multiple quarterbacks who've done that, and it's paid off. Now, Broncos got the stats, about when you move up a level, your playing time tends to drop and your production drops because guys are bigger and faster and stronger. And it gets harder to do it. But, man, Cam Ward, that guy transferred twice. He jumped levels twice and ended up being the number 1 pick.
Well, I think but this uncertainty of quarterback.
It is uncertain. You got to have the coach. You got to have the players around you. You got to have a line in front of you. Nobody can play with a bad line in front of them. So
right.
Does Oklahoma State have a good line in front of them? And maybe they do in September, but after 2 injuries, they don't in October. Who's to say?
I just think the nature of the quarterback position is so screwy and so unpredictable. Like, for instance, the Pagan kid coming down from Logan. I'm expecting to have a pretty good season because I think you can run routes. And, if you can do it at the level that they were in the Mountain West, I see no reason why he can't do it here. But once you bring in a quarterback, we have seen quarterbacks, they just all this, all that, and they're nothing. And other guys, you just don't know what the quarterback spot. It's crazy to understand, and I don't think it'll ever be understood completely.
If it could, then coaches would not miss on 5-star recruits, and NFL teams would not miss on the number 1 and number 2 pick in the draft.
High draft picks. And I've had intense discussions with offensive coordinators, guys that are real. Norm Chow in his house. in his house where his children play.
Okay, now
I guess it would have been grandchildren in this case.
I'm going Lake Tahoe, and he doesn't live in Lake Tahoe. If you don't know your Godfather quotes, you better catch up on them, because you got to know them to understand. Otherwise, you don't know what he's getting at.
So,
in my house, where my children play.
and so, with that in mind, it's still a mystery until you actually do it, and we'll see what Oklahoma State is getting a lot of love because of the number of folks who came over from North Texas and the success they've had there. And I think right now, my guys at UC Los Angeles, because of Chesney, no relation to Kenny.
Because he's a James Madison guy.
Right.
Yep.
And it'll be fascinating to see.
And now you go out and you hire the coach from James Madison or North Texas, and everybody's at those schools is thinking / hoping, we got Signetti. It's the same kind of move.
Yeah, precisely.
It's
Amen.
like, we're going to the top, baby.
Yeah. And he struck gold immediately. And the gold has gone even higher than they ever thought even possible.
Playoffs, year
He's
one.
2 for freaking 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so right now he can run his mouth and he's Yoda. I mean, everything he says is just, wow, look at him, man. And he's got no hobbies. I saw the other day. I don't golf. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I know, well, that sucks for you.
Well, he's 27-2 at Indiana, so that doesn't suck for him.
I know, but man, how about a little balance?
Yep. Well, he carries a certain intensity that ensures that they won't write the story about him that they just wrote about Kalani. But is it a trade-off? Does he have to be that guy so that he can go 27?
That's who you have to be.
If you are 27-2 in that place, and is he back to that word? Is he authentic?
Right. And I'm not around the guy, but maybe that's just simply who he is.
Yeah. But 27-2 anywhere would be impressive. 27-2 at Indiana, unthinkable, and yet it's true. DJ and PK, we got to take a break. Josh Furlong will have more on the AP poll at 10 o'clock. Josh is a voter. He'll join us at 9 o'clock. Scotty G and Tim will have that poll for you at 10, right here on The Zone.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big this Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone. It's a Win Tickets Wednesday, and this week, Motley Crue with performances by Tesla and Extreme at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. September 21st. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Get your tickets today and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win.
Get out. Wow.
None other than Pete Fiutak is picking BYU to beat Notre Dame this season.
Finally, I got something in common with Pete.
Can it be true?
Oh.
Matt, no, Pete is not a real person.
Yes, he is.
Brian, it cannot be true. Matt, no, of course not. Notre Dame 105-0.
That's like Georgia Tech and Cumberland or something like that?
Yeah. That was 222-0, I think.
222?
Yeah, maybe 220. I'm not sure. But it was,
Split the difference, 221.
221. 220, 221, whatever it takes. Oh, there's another movie reference he didn't even look up. He didn't even get that. We'll have to show him that movie. That's an old one. Mr. Mom. It's classic.
And you know who was in Mr. Mom?
Terry Garr.
And I interviewed her.
You did.
On the telephone.
The late Terry Garr. She passed away. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Michael Keaton.
John Lithgow. I also interviewed.
Nice. Down in L.A., you got to hang out with some stars.
Yeah. And he was a big Dodger fan, or at least a big baseball fan. I used to see him in the press box. I used to see those guys all over the place. The Field of Dreams was just last week. The guy with the red beard. You got to sell, Ray. That guy.
Timothy Busfield.
Was in
Timothy Busfield,
the press box more than once.
Yeah. We got Jeff here saying, nope, Notre Dame's going to win. Tabernacle Tech's going 5-7. We'll only click on Jeff here to see if he's a Ute or an Aggie, because clearly he's one of them. Let's see.
So you got double T's in 2 instances, Texas Tech and Tabernacle Tech. That's the game of the century. That just feels stormable.
Well, Jared says, hey, it could happen. Nobody picked BYU to beat Miami in 1990. Field got stormed that day.
Oh, for sure. Nobody picked them? Probably not. That was in the heyday of Miami.
Miami was, they were at the top of their game.
Jimmy Johnson.
And they were loaded that year. They only lost 2 games that year.
Was Jimmy Johnson?
One more time.
Was he there?
1990 might have been Dennis Erickson.
Yeah.
Might have been Dennis Erickson's first year or second year. Yeah, I think it was Erickson. Because I think Jimmy was there in 89. I think 89 was the year they went 1-15, and then they were okay in 90, and then
You're talking to the Cowboys.
yeah, 1-91.
Yeah.
Give me something to look up in the next break. Thank you.
But that was that the best win in BYU history? Regular season?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay. You can make a case for that. There's others. But that one? Maybe K-State in the bowl game? Obviously, the SMU was the most unbelievable one. But this one has an opportunity, particularly most folks are unanimously picking Notre Dame to be undefeated coming into that game.
Notre Dame is getting criticized, I don't know if ripped might be too strong, for the fact that they only have 2 or 3 good games on their schedule. They're largely, it's like that schedule is soft. They better not slip up because they can't get it back.
I don't know about that, the Notre Dame.
And I get the people who are writing and saying this maybe just don't like Notre Dame and want to say that. But I think it's pretty clear, and we'll see how many ranked opponents they have.
Notre Dame is simply the biggest brand in the sport, and I don't see that changing.
And I do think that they played some power programs that they hoped / expected would be good, but they're just down. So BYU, Miami, SMU, all in the second half of the schedule, are the 3 teams that are getting respect.
Well, those are decent.
They are, but that's there. You compare that to, say, Michigan.
I got it, Michigan, but you're going to the top there. And Notre Dame chose a scheduling alliance with the ACC, not the Big Ten.
Yep. And as you rotate through the ACC, who do you get? Well, you get Boston College and Syracuse, and they're
middling programs.
Those programs have had moments, but they aren't close to having a moment right now.
No.
And their Big Ten opponents are Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Purdue. Well, Wisconsin, Michigan State.
Well, but then SC bails on them.
That's what they can come back with.
And so they replace it with Notre Dame. And Stanford is an historic game, basically. It's a traditional. They want to be on the West Coast every year, and so they'd alternated Northern California, Southern California. There's some logic as to what they're doing there.
They played them when Stanford was great and winning conference titles and going to
Stanford.
Rose Bowls.
It's up to Stanford to be good, not to Notre Dame.
So Notre Dame, the argument for Notre Dame fans is we scheduled 10 Power 4 teams, but a bunch of them are down.
And they have this scheduling agreement. I don't know how that works. Who decides that? Is it the Big Ten or ACC commissioner?
Yeah, they're playing 5 a year, and I think they drew up a thing where they rotate through them. So again, it's up to that team to be good.
Because everybody wants to play Notre Dame.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
But the thing about it is that only gets you into the playoff. That doesn't get you beyond that. So you will be tested at some point. And if they sort of easy schedule their way, so to speak, into the playoff, then you got to go win these games. And no one's getting to the final by backdooring and hopscotching through 15 games. And right there, you just named 3 that are pretty good. And I don't know where the other 2 are, but we know one of them is here.
They get Miami and SMU at home.
No, good for them. And
BYU is their big road game. And they only have 4. It's like they got 2 neutral site games. with Navy and
Well,
Wisconsin.
there's no such thing as a neutral site game for Notre Dame.
Because they just go and flood the place.
Yeah, they do.
As you know, in Vegas.
Yeah. Right. In Ireland.
Yep.
Wherever. They are the biggest fan base, biggest brand in the sport.
Combination of they got fans everywhere, plus they have fans who will travel, so
right.
That's why they do that Shamrock series.
Yeah.
Let's go to Florida, let's go to Texas, let's go wherever.
Yeah, they could go Australia, they can go to South America, wherever. So from that perspective, but to have BYU have that opportunity, I would love to see BYU come in undefeated, both these teams, and see what happens there. Is it a possibility? Sure. Will we have much more information by the time we get to that point? Absolutely.
Well, it's all about the word you pick. You're very good. Alex, you'll learn this about PK. He's very good with language. Like, he didn't say, will BYU beat Notre Dame? He said, could. Yes, they could.
Well, words mean what they mean.
Exactly. But you're very careful. You're very careful and particular. Not everybody is.
I'm a word guy.
See?
I sucked at math. I barely paid attention in biology and all the other subjects. But when it came to English and sentence construction, even as a little kid, I can remember the nuns putting stuff on the board, and I was fascinated by it. Yeah. We all have different interests. What's your interest, Alex? Or Cap?
I mostly just, I guess, TV shows and sports. That's probably
I'm starting to get a little
baseless.
thing here. At some point, I want to hear you say women. Okay?
I will mention women at some point today. Absolutely.
Aren't you getting a little nervous here?
You just did. Check that box. No.
I mean, come on. We all had an interest in chicks.
I already think he's been picked on the air, so I think it's a topic he avoids by other co-hosts on this show, on this station.
Yeah, but you haven't arrived until you're doing this show. This show sets the tone every single day.
Well, the tone for him getting picked on in his dating life has been set by other people.
I'm not picking on his dating life.
Well, other people have, and so I just think it's a topic he's just steering away from.
Well,
How am I doing?
Don't tell me that, because then I go right at it more.
Well, you already are, though, so it's on. I mean, you.
No,
but
I said it myself.
You have a way of sensing weakness and vulnerability.
I can smell it.
Yes. If there's an opportunity for comedy at someone's expense, you will discover it.
I mean, that's someone's. What am I, Don Rickles over here?
Sometimes a little bit, yeah. Do you know who Don Rickles is?
No, I don't know.
You don't know. He just insults people nonstop. But before Two Ferns, you've seen, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So
Two Ferns? Reminds me when I was at ASU.
The best. He's dying. That's nice.
You can't see.
Alex is
I got a
laughing
dirty
pretty hard.
look from Lloyd around the corner. You can't see
well,
him.
he should have. Lloyd's management. He's paid to keep an eye on you.
What was your Two Ferns thing?
Oh, they bring you just get a bit. It's basically a comedian insulting people. That's what's in common. You got somebody who's older who just came out and sets up Frank Sinatra and yells at him, and that's a hilarious
I never appreciated
story.
that style.
That was good one. Or you just sit there. When you and Matthew McConaughey get interviewed, when you and Woody Harrelson are doing a movie together, are you worried that somewhere there is a sack that isn't being hacked? Or with Benedict Cumberbatch, do you think your accent distracts people from the fact, if you don't have your accent, when people realize you're a bad actor? Benedict Cumberbatch has been, I don't even know how many hit movies that dude's been in. So just call him a bad actor to his face.
What's his name?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, wow.
He's English. He's English. It's not a name for someone from St. Louis.
Okay.
He's not from Iowa. Ray. Yeah. So that's that bit. It just keeps reinventing itself.
Okay.
Sinatra has a story about how once Rickles, before he was married, was on a date, and they were in the same restaurant, and he went by his table and said, "Hey, Frank, will you come over and say hi, right? Because then you'll look like a big shot if Sinatra comes over and he's nice to you." So he comes over, And if he says something, not now, Frank. Can't you see I'm eating? Like, nobody talks to Sinatra like that.
Does he know who Sinatra is?
You know who Sinatra is.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Of course I do.
Thank goodness, yes.
Well, you never know.
Woo! Well, you got to know who Sinatra is. I mean, they're still playing him every time the Yankees win. I mean, he's a sports fan.
Every New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. And it's an awesome song, but I think I'd still rather hear Come Fly With Me. But, you know, it's just me.
You don't want to play Come Fly With Me at Yankee Stadium.
No, not in that situation. I'm just saying, for me, like Sinatra, when you hear a Sinatra song, you think, that dude is awesome. And when I hear Come Fly With Me, I just think, how many people can do that? That is awesome.
Okay.
Stands the test of time. I love that song, and just the way he sings it and sells it at the same time. It's awesome.
My sister went to his gravesite in Palm Springs last December.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. But there are people who do. I have a.
Yeah, well, you weren't born and raised in New Jersey.
Absolutely. And I have a friend from college who is a huge movie buff, and he thought Alfred Hitchcock was like, Hitchcock movies were the best thing ever. Just the best thing ever.
They were for the birds.
Oh, nice. Well played. Thank you. And Hitchcock dies, and then as the story goes, this guy got a date and crashed the funeral. Drove unreal. You did what? I would, yeah.
It was public?
I guess. Yeah. I'll have to call him and get the details on that.
Okay.
Get the story for you. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Josh Furlong on his top 25 ballot, and the Utes at the top of the hour. Stay with us, DJ and PK, it's 97.5. Oh, coming up next, an outrageous quote from our sporting past. Can't buy it.
No.
Malone, LeBron, next.
No.
Stay with us.
No.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
He swings, and he hits it high, deep to center field. That's back. That's a gunner. The first swing in the big leagues. How about that? Joshua Baez goes yard. A swing, and there's a drive, and that's hit well to right field. That's deep to right. That ball is gone. That ball is gone. Unbelievable. 3 at-bats in the big leagues. 3 home runs for Joshua Baez.
There's the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it this afternoon after 2 o'clock. Jake and Ben will call for it. You can win fabulous prizes. Brought to you by Chevy with an impressive lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs. It's no wonder that people are switching to Chevy. Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers, America's fastest growing full-line brand. It's Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers bringing you the Chevy Strong play of the game. PK, you got a quote. I guess people have to say things, but that doesn't mean we have to believe them.
No, not at all. I come across this. Max Kellerman. Oh, Max. Pushing LeBron James over Karl Malone. Okay, we can live with that. But what he says, this particular sentence, complete and disrespect. Total disrespect. I missed out the word total. For letter carrier. Says, LeBron James this past year in the playoffs at 41 years old was better than Karl Malone ever was a day in his life in the NBA. A day.
Come on, man.
A day.
If I had to pick one, and I'll even go to late in his career, like LeBron. Late in his career, Karl would have been 36 when he had his 50-point playoff game against the Seattle Supersonics. It's pretty good that day. 50 at the age of 36. Come on.
Well, yeah, 36. Wow. 26.
Yeah, right. But still, he was past the 2 MVP awards. The thing about Karl, and clearly Max is calling up, there were elimination games and 3 for 17, and you can point at games in Portland and Houston and wherever else. He wasn't good.
He had his disappointments.
Right. No but also, there were times that he looked at Hall of Famers and he completely owned them, dominating San Antonio and David Robinson. And one year, Tim Duncan. I mean, their careers barely overlapped. And Shaq, the There was a series hanging in the balance in 97. It's 2-1. They're in L.A. for Game 4. Malone goes off for 37. I think he had 17 straight free throws in the game or something ridiculous like that. He was completely locked in. It just money. So stop with the stop with that.
1989-90, and I've got his stats here. He averaged 38 minutes a game. And how many games did he play?
My guess is the number is going to be 82.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Right.
Educated guess.
And he averaged 31 right on the button and 11.1 boards. And 2.8 assists. Yeah. And even a steal and a half. Now, he wasn't a high flyer, so he didn't have block shots, weren't really his thing. Shot 56% from the field.
Yeah.
56%.
Yeah, a little over the top. I mean, I get Max's point. LeBron was great in that, that the Lakers, that shorthanded, won a playoff series, and Houston had their problems. We've talked about this before. You pointed that out. Houston was a flawed team. They had a massive injury of their own early in the year. So, but nonetheless, for LeBron to lead them to a playoff series win at that point in his career, that's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know what more you expected out of the guy.
For his career, he averaged 37 minutes a game.
Sweet. No one's coming near that.
Multiple times, he averaged 40 minutes a game.
Oh, really? How many would that be early? Because I don't think he was doing that by the time we got here. But we got here halfway through his career.
Yes.
Oh, really? He did?
The first year.
Okay.
93-94. Played all 82. 40 and a half minutes a game.
Wow.
25 and 11 and a half. Come on.
Eden, that was your Mark Eaton's back, forced him into retirement. And they basically played without a center that year. So Karl probably had to play bigger minutes as they tried to ham and egg it through the season without a center.
90-91, he averaged 40. So twice he averaged 40 minutes a game.
That's staggering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is staggering.
Yeah, he had a million failures, whatever. That's part of the story. But also part of the story is the stuff I've just been saying.
Yep.
You can't just go to one part of the story. You got to, with him, and he's as complex a superstar as there's ever been. And he's got all sorts of personal issues, and that's part of the story, too. I don't have any problem discussing any of that. I was part of the Tribune at the time when we were writing stories that were not very complimentary. And I was on that. And I did stuff. I wasn't the lead person, but I did stuff. And then you got missing foul shots in the playoff, blah, blah, blah. That's part of the story, too. Okay, fine. But also this is part of the story. If you're going to tell the story, that's it. That's the story. Do you want to just tell part of the story, or you want to tell the story?
Well, it depends who you are.
Well, but see, if you tell the story...
I get your point.
That includes everything. But if you want to tell part of the story, then you got to tell us this is part of the story. You see the difference?
I do.
Yeah. So you got to tell... If you just want to tell part of it, so be it. But if you want to tell the story, you got to tell the other stuff that I just mentioned here. You cannot overlook that. That's why you're telling part of the story, because there was that other stuff on the floor.
If
he was Olden Polynice, just to pick a name, we wouldn't be talking about him.
That was exactly the point. There's no way that would be who Max referenced.
Right.
He referenced them because there were all these positives.
Right.
But he clearly thinks the negatives were underreported.
At 41, LeBron, no. LeBron overall, yes. 41, no.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, Josh Furlong covers the Utes. We'll talk with him about the Utes 2 weeks in. What does he think? Plus, he's got a ballot. 1 hour from now, the AP Top 25 preseason poll comes out. He's written a story. It's up at KSLSports.com. His top 10, why he did it the way he did it. We'll talk with him next. Stay with us.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, and it is time to welcome Josh Furlong back to the show. You read them and you see them at KSLSports.com. Josh, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, trying to fix my camera.
No worries.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good. I'm wondering if you're doing well for long, though. The top 25 poll comes out.
Not for Furlong.
Then, nice. Then everybody analyzes how the 65 voters rank teams, and then the hardcore at University of Fill in the Blank begin to search people out and harass them. You got any good stories about people going at you for the way you voted?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every year there's something. I don't know that I have one in particular. I mean, but you get people, even yesterday, that were pretty upset with, how I've put the people. Obviously I have a Big Ten and SEC bias, or I'm not ranking the local teams high enough. It's the same every year, but you just kind of roll with it. I mean, sometimes it gets a little personal. Other times you just have to get off social media.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh, I hate your ballots. They're always so one-sided, favoring the Big Ten and the SEC and Notre Dame, while always dismissing BYU. Not saying BYU should be number one, but you, of all people, should be more bullish on the local teams. Now, that isn't me talking. That is somebody else, and that's what you're referring to, I assume.
Exactly. It's the same argument every year, and it's fine, right? I mean, that's the hard part, right? Is like, obviously I do have more insight on the local teams, and so there's one hand where you can praise them and you can lift them up a little bit, and then on the other hand you see their warts and you see what's going on with them a little bit more than maybe other teams. And so I think it's a tough task to be able to kind of balance those things and try to say, okay, am I judging them too harshly compared to everybody else? But it's the nature of it. It's a preseason poll. Like it's just a snapshot in time, and it's not anything too serious.
Every year people look for the team that in the top 25 completely falls apart. And last year, number 2, number 4, number 9, Penn State, Clemson, and LSU. LSU fires their coach. Penn State fires their coach in October because of a 3-game losing streak. Pretty dramatic. Is there anybody you put in the top 10 and think, well, based on who they have back, I need to put them here, but I totally realize the bottom could fall out?
I mean, that could be any team, right? Like, because last year I had Penn State number 1. So it's like, I don't know that you expect your number 1 team to drop out of the poll completely, fire its coach, do that kind of stuff. So it's tough to predict, but I mean, there's different things where they have to hit, right? Like, I think Notre Dame is an easy one for everybody to kind of latch onto. With that said, they have a pretty weak schedule. So it's like, if you can't get it done there, then the bottom really does drop out for you. But I think they're the team that many expect to probably not be among the top 5 that I have in there. I have them currently rated number 4. I think there's a lot riding on this season for CJ Carr. Can he be the quarterback that they need him to be? What can they do? There's a team like Ole Miss where, Trinidad Chambliss is coming in for another season, coming off a hot season last year with Lane Kiffin. Now he has to do it under a new head coach. Does Ole Miss have what it takes to be able to be that team? I don't know. That's, on paper, it looks good. They've got a lot of returners. They've got a lot of talent. Pete Golding is a great head coach. At least we assume so from a SEC level. But I think there's teams like that they could fall. I imagine Ohio State and Oregon, Miami, those types of teams will probably be at the top still. But, anything's, crazy in this sport. And that's what's great about it is you get to be able to watch these games. You get to be able to enjoy it. That doesn't invalidate these preseason polls. It's really just a snapshot in time. That's what I try to remind people. It's a snapshot in time where, you're looking and you're saying, okay, here's the teams where we think they're going to be. And obviously that gets changed every single week.
Big 12-wise, we've got Texas Tech at 10, which you should say you have. BYU 16, Utah 20, and then rounding it out with Houston at 25. Give us your thoughts as to what went into that.
Yeah, Texas Tech, I mean, they return a lot of talent, plus they just continue to stock up in the transfer portal. So there's a good reason for them to be at the top. If there is a team that I think could potentially drop it, maybe Texas Tech. We don't know what's going to happen at quarterback, right? Will Hammond is expected to be the starting QB, but we don't really know if he's going to be ready. We don't know if they're going to have what they need to at the time. Their schedule's soft enough that it probably helps them, but they may not be the same juggernaut that they were last year. I think there's a lot of people that expect BYU to be that team, and, for good reason. They return a lot of their talent from last year. Bear Bachmeier is coming into a second season where he's got a lot more experience. Obviously, there's questions on the defensive side in terms of, can Kelly Papinga continue what Jay Hill did? They're not going to change much, but at the same time, there's going to be some changes there. Do they have a wide receiver that can really kind of spread the field for them? What's going to happen there? So that's why I put them a tiny bit lower. I still think BYU is probably near the top there, but at the same time, there's some questions they need to prove as well. And then Utah, obviously that's a team that has a ton of questions, but I think there's potential there, coming off an 11-2 season where you have Devin Dampier, you have, Wayshawn Parker, you have potentially the best wide receiver corps that they've ever had there, mix in with a defense that for the most part rebuilds every single year. There's belief that they can do it. That's why I have them at 20. I want them to be able to show that they can do a little bit more, but at the same time, validate that they can be good enough. And then Houston, Houston's one where I toyed with either them or Arizona. I think Houston has probably a little bit more of an edge right now. They've got a lot of returning talent as well, but at the same time, they haven't been able to really sustain it a ton, and their schedule wasn't as challenging last year, and they still weren't able to do it as well. So, Houston, Arizona, maybe even Kansas State probably could fit in that same 25 spot. I think there is at least one other Big 12 team in there, but I chose Houston just because Connor Wegman's back. He's returning. You could put Arizona there with Noah Fafita, but I think Houston has a little bit more of an edge right there right now.
You mentioned Wayshawn Parker, and he had to split time early in the season. It was amazing to me how little he got the ball until the last 5 or 6 games of the year when his numbers exploded. Does he get the ball? Does he get 15 to 20 carries a game this year? Or is McGivern going to throw the ball more, so even if he's the featured back, there aren't going to be as many carries to be had?
Yeah, I think that'll probably be more telling based on this offensive line. I think if that offensive line can establish a good run game, then I think Wayshawn will be a big focus of that in terms of, like you said, 15 to 20 carries a game. But I think they're going to try to involve him more in the passing game as well. There's going to be a lot more, short passes, intermediate passes, behind line of scrimmage passes for Wayshawn. But I think all in all, he's going to be much more of a focus than he ever was. I don't think Utah's going to abandon the run, right? Like, this isn't Kevin McGivern coming in here and suddenly Utah is operating air raid offense. This is going to be balanced in the sense that he feels like he wants to have a balance toward his playmakers, right? That's going to be Wayshawn Parker. That's going to be Braden Pagan. That's going to be a whole host of other players. And so I think whoever has the hot hand, so to speak, is going to be able to get that. So there may be some games where Wayshawn isn't utilized that much. Maybe he's 10 carries a game. And another, I feel like they're going to be able to utilize him 15, 20 carries a game. But even then, even though he's quote-unquote RB1, I don't know that it's the same as years past where there's this quote-unquote bell cow back, right? Like, I don't think teams are focusing in on that as much. It's much more spread the ball around. You've got a lot of guys, Hunter Andrews, you got Nate Johnson, Bird Ficklin for that matter, who are going to be able to get in there and factor into the run game, passing game, all kinds of stuff. So, I think it's got to be a shift in mindset in terms of how Utah approaches this. Wayshawn is still the lead guy, and he's going to get the bulk of those carries, but I think it's going to vary on a game-to-game basis.
Your top 5, starting with number 1 and going through down to 5, Ohio State, number 1, Oregon, in number 2, Miami 3, Notre Dame 4, Georgia 5. And then you got Texas at 6. A lot of people think that Texas might be the favorite this year. And so from that perspective, that's probably a little low. What is your thought process there?
Yeah, I think, they have a few returners, but they are rebuilding, a fair amount of their team. If I'm right, let me just verify that I had it. But 2 of their top 3 wide receivers transferred out, and they do bring in some talent through the transfer portal and get the number 1 wide receiver from the portal class. So, there's talent in there, but I think from where they're at and where Georgia's at, it's slim, but I think Georgia has a little bit more consistency. They have a returning quarterback who has been a little bit more successful. Obviously, Arch Manning can be a very solid quarterback, and that's the belief, especially as he started to develop as the season went on. But I think there's a little bit more of the pieces around them on the offensive side of the ball that are of a question as compared to Georgia. Now, Georgia isn't perfect, right? Last year, they weren't a perfect team and still somehow ended up winning the SEC. So it's fractions, right? quite honestly, I even think Oklahoma could be above Texas to some extent. I think they're all kind of lumped in there right in that bunch where, if John Mateer looks like the John Mateer from the beginning of the season before his hand injury, this could be a different game for Oklahoma. So I think there's just these little nuances there. I think Texas is a really solid team. Steve Sarkisian is going to be another great head coach this year. It's just going to matter on who emerges from that. And obviously they've got the talent. They've got, the transfer portals that come in. It just is going to depend on who kind of separates themselves from that. And right now I just give Georgia the nod because they are the defending champions. They have a little bit more consistency. And, that's just kind of the nature of what it's been in the SEC for the last few years.
Anyone who's listened to this show know there's two teams that PK loves to loathe. Ohio State, who you ranked 1, and Oregon, who you ranked 2. Oregon's only losses in the last 2 years have only lost 3 games, and they've been to the teams that have won the title. What's separating them from kicking the door in? And it looks like you've got them losing one more time, getting frustratingly close and coming up short again.
Yeah, I think Oregon is a very interesting team, right? Because they clearly have the pieces to be able to do what they need to win a national title. But for whatever reason, they haven't been able to close the gap. Now, I think the fact that they have Dante Moore coming back, they have probably one of the best wide receiver corps in the entire country. They've got a solid defense. There's so many reasons to believe in Oregon, but it's one of those things where, I rode with Oregon the entire time that they were the number 1 team, right? Like they clearly were the number 1 team, but they weren't able to get it done in the playoffs. And granted, you can argue the playoff system really messed them up and it wasn't a great system for them. But I think they just, for whatever reason, haven't taken that next step. Ohio State is obviously a little bit more consistent. They're bringing in Julian Sand. They've got their star running back coming back. They've got obviously Jeremiah Smith. They've got a lot of the consistency there. They've got a lot of the defensive mindset that's still there. They've also won a national championship in the last couple of years. So to me, that's what gives me the edge there. I honestly think there's such a fine gap between these two teams. I think Oregon probably has the best overall team, but Ohio State has the more consistency and the ability to be able to get to the finish line because that's what they've done. So it's 1A, 1B in my opinion. You could rank Oregon and I wouldn't be upset at number 1. But at the same time, I think I'm going to go with the team that has had more success recently, even though Oregon is definitely right there with them.
We had on Tim Brando the other day, and he was saying he didn't think it was going to go well for Michigan. And then we had a beat writer for the Detroit News who's been doing it since 1992, so she certainly knows what she's talking about. And she was looking at possibly as an 8-4. You've got the Wolverines at 17, and obviously they've become somewhat of a local story with all the connections. We know all that. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think, fair or unfair, the season is going to ride on Bryce Underwood. And I don't know that what we've heard from camp / what we saw last year is a huge indicator that they're going to have a ton of success. Now, with that said, I think they have a lot of great talent coming back. Kyle obviously is a great head coach and he can maximize a lot of that talent, but we're going to have to see it all come together, right? Like I think Michigan has all the capabilities in the world to be a top 25 team, top 15 team, win a national championship like we saw a few years ago, but it's all got to come together. And so for that reason, I'm not so high on Michigan in the sense that I think they can do it like some of these other teams. I really do think it just comes down to Bryce Underwood. And, I don't know that that's fair, but I think if they can't get a great, passing game or a great, consistency in quarterback, that's going to be a really tough situation. And quite honestly, years of experience watching Kyle operate with his quarterbacks, I don't know that he's going to necessarily take that next step, right? Like Kyle had good quarterbacks, but there wasn't this huge glow up, so to speak, from one year to the next. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Bryce Underwood. I don't know that there's going to be this huge glow up. Now, with that said, Jason Beck is a solid offensive coordinator. You obviously saw what he did with Devin Dampier, but I don't even know that Bryce Underwood is to Devin Dampier's level yet, simply because he hasn't proven it. Now, right. 5-star talent, right?
Yeah.
There's potential there, but I don't know that he's lived up to that billing yet.
No, not yet.
Can they get away with him not throwing the ball much because he's such a brilliant runner? Or does that just make him too one-dimensional?
I feel like that makes him too one-dimensional, right? Like we've seen this time and time again under a Kyle Whittingham system where when you become too one-dimensional, it may work for a bit, but it becomes a challenge. Now with you say that, and then I can sit here and say Utah, broke an all-time record of rushing, and so they were more one-dimensional. But I think they had enough variance in there that they could do it. But I think it becomes so much more harder to do that. And if they can't figure that out, I don't know that it's going to go well for them.
I think part of the strength of the Big 12 is when you get down to teams 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know how far you want to go. But you can make a point that there's some pretty decent teams in the middle of the league. And we already talked about how you've got, 4 ranked. And then you also have... in your consideration, now you just have it alphabetically. You have the Cats, who you've already mentioned, the Sun Devils, and Kansas State and TCU. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. So you're looking, there you go. So you got basically half the league, which do you feel like could at least deserve consideration. I really think that that's the strength of the league, and I think that you're reflecting in that in your poll. Give us your thoughts as far as including these other teams and the strength of the league being actually in its depth, where you can consider half the teams then to possibly be ranked and at least be in contention as we get into late October and November.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a strength in the sense that there is a lot of teams that can vie for those spots, right? But I think as part of that, it becomes a challenge in terms of being able to have one dominant team where the national media can focus on, right? The Big 12 is not going to get the same spotlight that the Big 10 and the SEC are going to get. And so when you have a lot of these teams beating each other up, I think it just kind of dilutes that market, and it doesn't help national perspective on what the Big 12 can be. That's why a Texas Tech, a BYU, a Utah emerging as the dominant team year over year is going to help this conference. And I know that's not easy. And even Brett Yormark admitted that 2 years ago in his media days, address. He sees that there has to be some sort of emergence from one of these teams to make it work. So, whether it's Arizona, Arizona State, Kansas State, or TCU in that mix, that's great for the conference in terms of parity and trying to be able to make a great conference where you can't guarantee wins, but at the same time, you're never going to be able to compete with these top programs because they're never going to look at you that way, because any given week, all of a sudden Arizona goes and beats BYU this week. That's not a great system. It's fun football, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's not great for the landscape of the Big 12 because they've got to try to vie for every little spot that they can. And that's why I think you saw BYU not make it into the playoffs last year, is because there's just so much parity there where it was easier to say, well, this conference, it can go any one of two ways. Plus, they lost to Texas Tech twice, in that season. There was no differentiator there, and so it's easy for them to overlook the Big 12.
You hedged your bets there with Houston. Are you just scared that it was so many close wins last year that the law of averages has just got to bite them?
I think so. I mean, like I said, I've got them at 25. I don't know that that's probably going to be sustained. I think a team like Arizona is probably better suited to get there, but I think Houston felt like a really good team at the end of the season. They're still holding over a lot of the same roster that it can get there. But if there's a team of that forward to kind of drop back, I honestly think it could be Houston. I don't trust Kansas State fully. So to me, it's Arizona State. Arizona State, I know PK loves his alum, but I don't know that there's too many questions there, right? I don't know what Arizona State's going to look like. So many transfers. Year, right? Exactly. Like Sam Levitt last year coming back, there was a lot to believe in Arizona State. I just don't know that we have those same answers here. But I think that group of four right there, group of five, I think there's so many more questions than the three above them. Utah has a ton of questions, but I think there's been more consistency over the last few years to help them that kind of emerges from that other group. So, it could be Houston, like I said, it could be Arizona. It's a coin flip in a lot of respects on who could be that last team in.
So because of the depth, which can work against you as far as the one or two great teams, probably you're looking at only one team from the Big 12 getting in the playoff?
That would be my assumption. I mean, barring two of these teams really kind of separating themselves and just dominating the entire season, which could happen. I mean, Texas Tech has a really weak schedule. BYU and Utah don't have hard schedules. They're biggest differentiator is probably themselves playing each other, I should say. BYU does have to play Notre Dame, so that's a challenge there. But, I think you're going to have two teams that are dominant the entire season and really just kind of blow people away. And even then, it may not work like you saw with BYU last year. So to me, the Big 12 is still a one bid league until they can prove it otherwise. And I think, until that happens, that's always what it's going to be.
Well, I'm going to use my burner account to send you an email right now because I just don't like your attitude.
Do it.
You suck, Josh.
I'm the worst. I should be fired. I'm the worst balloter ever. How did they give it to me?
You clearly don't know anything about football.
Nope, none of it.
All right. Well, good luck with all the fun, hate, social media and email and whatever else you get, Josh. And you just do this job for the money, right? I mean, they're paying voters a ton of cash. Not like back in the day when PK had to do it for free.
I got $0.
I'm rolling in cars and watches and everything. They're just loading me.
Yeah, right. All right, Josh. We appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see you up at a practice sometime. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There's Josh Furlong. He covers the Utes. He's up there for all of Morgan Scalley's press conferences, media availabilities, covering the team. You can follow him at KSLSports.com and the KSL Sports app. You miss those days as a voter?
No.
It was fun. You said you did it, and then you moved on.
You summed it up exactly.
There it is.
Yeah, my exact feelings when I first got to do it and everything was fresh and new. Yeah, it was awesome. But after a while, you're traveling and you got to have the thing up. It's actually easier to do the preseason one because you got all this time.
Right.
But in the season, most of these people are on the road or at home, and football Saturdays for us are long days. And
you have to be doing multiple things at the same time, and you just can't be.
Right. And so you're trying to follow all these teams, and then you got to have it by like 8 o'clock the next morning or something. Mm-hmm. And if you're and especially in the West Coast here, or the west part of the United States, we're doing these things, these late games and all this stuff. And it became too much after a while for too little pay, which is zero.
Zero. Yeah.
And so let somebody else have it. So I had my time doing that stuff and all that. The one thing I have kept is the Wooden, because of my respect for John Wooden.
Right. And it's not the weekly grind in the same way.
No, it's not.
It's a totally different beast.
It's 1,000 times easier. Yeah.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We have talked about a lot of stuff this morning, some golf, some baseball, a lot of college football. As always, everything you missed, we'll get to it next. Stay with us.
For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to get you updated on everything we've been talking about in this show. There's a big piece over the weekend about Kalani Sitake, ESPN.com, about how he has great relationships with all these coaches across college football. And they had quotes from a bunch of them, and it's just pretty unusual. And people are looking for stuff to write for this time of year. It'll be more about the games and players and all that kind of stuff soon. But they had time to write this, and people just love him, PK, and all the quotes. He's authentic, and he's warm, and he loves to talk and connect. And they were talking about just few minutes before the game, media days, wherever.
He's a lovable, roly-poly kind of guy. And it's real. That doesn't mean he can get mad. I've seen him mad. Mm-hmm. I've talked to him. He's told me stuff. I feel like I got a pretty good read on him because I've been around him for a long time, and I'm by far not even close to the only one who's got a pretty good read on him too. And I think the public can look at it and see, because normally with folks that we interact with so much, you can get some nasty stories that the public doesn't see. Like when we would tell people, I was at a party once, and I think I was with Gordon, and we were telling people, John Stockton's not the easiest guy to cooperate, expect cooperation, and a lot of time in the training room, which is off limits. And they didn't want to hear it because that's their stars. Not to say he was a bad person by any stretch, and that's just a small example. But with Kalani, a lot of stuff that you hear is exactly who he is. And so the public is endearing, and we're seeing it in this little beef that they got going on, which I don't think is insurmountable, and I think will get taken care of, that the sentiment is overwhelming to his side. And it's funny how this story comes out right at this time, and I wanted to make sure that I spoke that they didn't see this stuff last week and then, we got to get this story. No, this was something that the interviews were done at the Star, which was 5 weeks ago in Texas, outside of Dallas there. And when they interviewed Rich Rod, McGuire, Sonny Dykes, Brennan down at the U of A. And these are guys that have all interacted with him, and it's legit, man. Your peers are telling the truth when they say this stuff about him, and away you go there. And he's winning at such a high level that it's a fresh story. And plus, too, you have to look at the element of him being a Polynesian, because the fact is there's not that many. Most of the head coaches are white. Let's call it like it is. And he's not. And so that's an angle, too, that's important. That's why I really think BYU, man, they got to make sure he's happy, because you have so much riding on what he's able to bring. And I spoke to this earlier. So many of these people that are on staff, assistant coaches, supplementary people, they're there because of him.
And because he's right here, and because he's been here for so long, although there was the quick detour to Oregon State, I don't know if people get how he's seen around the country. Typically, these stories go national, and it's a super familiar story locally, but it's new to people nationally. And certainly with the Penn State.
And this is a national story.
Right. But with him being, the guy Penn State wanted, so now people in the rest of the country are like, well, okay, tell me more about this guy. They've watched a late game or two or whatever, and they've seen a little bit, depending on how much they're into it. But I thought the thing that was telling for us locally was there was a quote there from someone who didn't want to be identified at Penn State, but it's like, he was the guy. Slam dunk. He was the guy they wanted. And there's the quote in the story making it just crystal clear about what a strong candidate he was. And they had other people, and obviously got somebody else, and he may do great. Campbell may do a great job there. But, they wanted Kalani big time. They've watched him. They've talked to people about him. They've seen how his team plays. I mean, they were they were all aboard on Kalani Sitake.
Yeah.
And that just makes me wonder, okay, we get to the end of this season, we get to 2 years from now, this is going to keep happening for a while. The story points out, he's early 50s. I mean, this guy could coach.
He could be the new Majerus in terms of the rumors.
He could. And he could go somewhere else and coach for 15 years. It could
easily.
be
Yeah.
It could be a Chris Peterson type deal where he stays one place a long time, but then he does go somewhere else, and he does do really well.
Chris Peterson's hand was forced because at that point there was starting to be a divide. Mm-hmm. And he had no choice.
Right.
If you want to be on the in, you got to get over there, and he did. And that's why BYU needs to make sure that they can take care of him, because he may be left with no choice. And you don't want that.
Right. But that story really laid it out. If you thought, what's Penn State, and I'm sure at BYU they know because they saw the offer, and he came to them and said, well, I'm getting offered this and this and this and this and this, because it isn't just about what he's getting his offer for his salary. Right, it's about the way the entire program is going to be staffed.
Oh,
and
absolutely!
Budgeted.
You got to go A to Z.
Right.
And the good thing from Penn State is I think that didn't get out until late in the process. Mm-hmm. And I got an email that somebody said, and it was an anonymous email. And I'm not going to go back and trace the IFPD or whatever the heck that stuff is called, but it said
the IFPD,
whatever it is. Yeah.
The IP address?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
The IFPD.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about. And it's
the Indiana Fort Wayne Police Department.
I knew you were going to come up with some kind of police department. But that would be IFPW.
That would be, you're right.
That, hey, this is about to happen. And it was literally an anonymous email. And then right around that time, it just took off. Mm-hmm. And then it became big-time public. And BYU solved that at the time. Now they got to follow through. Harmon with a column yesterday about, hey, these are contracts. Meet the contract stipulations in a timely basis. All right. Who can argue with that?
There's no way around this. And I don't know, nor are they going to say, but this whole notion that it's pushing more money to basketball and less money to football and all that, you got to push the money to football.
You have to. Yeah.
Number one, you have to just because that's the way sports is working. It depends on what story you read, but football, and it probably depends a little bit on the school, but I mean, football is at least 70, if it's not 80 or 90% of your money. I think the number I see most often is like 85%. I mean, it's such a staggering total of the revenue. I mean, it's such a staggering, right? So you got to. But on top of that, let's assume you don't meet the how did Dick phrase it? The stipulations of the contract in a timely manner, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, and then Kalani leaves for whatever the next big time program is, right? USC, Oklahoma, Texas. We can go down to Notre Dame. We can, whatever.
Well, that'd be cool. A Latter-day Saint head coach at Notre Dame,
right? Then you. Presumably, right, Jay Hill would be, in my mind, the number one candidate. Probably in a lot of people's minds. He'd be the number one candidate. And so he's coming.
Somebody at Michigan would be.
I see what you did there.
Jason Beck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or
go down the list.
Okay. So, well, just presume it was Jay, whoever's going to come in, they're going to say the same thing. It's good. You're going to be right back in the, hey, we need more money for X, Y, and Z. And the thing is, like, there are candidates for BYU, but it's not an endless supply, right? We know there's certain parameters you got to meet, and a lot of people don't meet them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're going to have a short list, and so the next person's going to come in, and coaching's a small circle. They all know. It's such a small business.
But that doesn't mean he wouldn't take the job, though, because...
No. He's going to come in, and there's going to be pressure on you to fulfill it, and then if you don't, then it's on you because now the same thing's happening a second time. So you got to fulfill it. I mean, there's no way around it.
Right.
You got to. There's no end game where you can get around it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Makes sense.
All right, other stuff we talked about. We just had Josh Furlong on. Get it wherever you get your podcast. You can get the whole show wherever you get your podcast. Go to KSLSports.com. Go to the KSL Sports app, YouTube, wherever. Enjoy. Your thought on the top 25, which officially is going to 15 minutes here on the other side of our show. Tim and Scott will have a nice topic to start their day off with.
I think Josh Furlong's poll will reflect fairly accurately, if not significantly accurately, of what the poll looks like.
It's not going to be that different than the coaches' poll, is it?
I don't remember what the coaches' poll was, but I'd put more emphasis into this one.
Yes, agreed. This one has more credibility than that one. I think the coaches kind of did it in saying, well, I have the SID do it, or
that's what we hear.
Have the grad assistant do it, or somebody, or whoever. The coaches' poll had BYU at 15 and Utah at 21. Josh had BYU at 16 and Utah at 20. And I just think that's going to be the ballpark.
I think BYU, I would probably put them a couple spots higher, if not 3 or 4 spots higher.
Who are you moving them past?
I don't care.
Okay. I do. It's fun.
Yeah, but I know, but you always do that. If I say somebody should be in, you say who should be out.
Well, you have a lot of opinions. I figure you have somebody in mind, somebody you're looking at thinking, not those guys.
Just because my knowledge of BYU is a little stronger than my knowledge of those teams around them.
Mm-hmm. Even down at 21, when you look at the preseason poll a year ago, Oklahoma was 18, they made it. A&M was 19, they made it. Indiana was 20. Ole Miss was 21. Texas Tech was 23. There are a bunch of teams in that neighborhood that made the playoffs. So you're in the mix. That's good enough. It's a good enough starting spot. Go win, and you can do it.
I want the Big 12 to get the respect that, okay, you can sustain a loss or 2 in conference because the conference is that good. As long as you have some really good wins. And the perception isn't there yet.
The Notre Dame game is an opportunity. There are not a lot of them for the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, but the conference games are a lot of them.
That sounds good, but I don't think...
I'm talking about the conference getting its respect in the conference.
Yeah, I just don't think
so if Vanderbilt beats Alabama, Okay.
They do because they're the SEC, but you don't.
Right, and that's why I want to get to that point. Yeah, I'm acknowledging that, and I want the conference to get to that point.
If you're going to move BYU up, moving past USC, moving past LSU. USC doesn't have it figured out. I just saw the stat. USC is 15-15 in the last 30 games against teams in power leagues.
I don't know what the poll is yet, so how do I know who to move up?
Well, they're behind him in the coaches poll. I was using the coaches poll at 14. Move them up. Baseball, the Dodgers continue to struggle. 5-11 in the last 16 games. Brewers beat them, won 3 out of 4. Brewers with the best record in baseball. The Bro Crow.
Well, of course, because Pat Murphy was the head coach at ASU.
See? It's all about the Devils. And the nature of baseball. Debut on Saturday. Hit a home run on your first swing. Hit 3 homers in your first 3 at-bats. But how does Sunday go, PK?
He was 0 for 5 with 3 Ks. I think I would have retired Saturday.
Hang it up. Good night, everybody. It's money to be made, PK.
Best start, best finish. He's only 23 years old. Big kid. Joshua Baez there. We'll see what he does. He'll be a name to follow, man. You have that type of introduction, the best ever in the history of the sport. And every single player has had a first day. The thousands have played. They've all had the first day. It's impossible not to. And look what he did. I also want to put in there, Tommy John died yesterday. The surgery is named after him, obviously, and he had 288 wins. I'm shocked he's not in the Hall of Fame.
86 years old. A good long life. He should be in it. Yeah, 288. I mean, 300 you're in for sure, so why wouldn't you get in? Given the injuries he had, he could have easily gotten to 300.
Yeah, and you have a surgery named after you. Wow. That's him and Lou Gehrig, right?
Lou Gehrig with a disease and him with a surgery. Yeah, it's rare. But right, you say Lou Gehrig's disease, we all know.
Yeah.
Tommy John surgery, we all know.
Right.
Anything else you want to tell the people about?
In the world of sports or what's in my heart?
Cap. We got a new producer today. We talked about Alex. Our 7th producer.
Lucky 7, number 7.
I called him captain. He was captaining the ship in the early days, as rotating in occasionally here and there as a producer on shows, and before that on games. Good to have a solid schedule now. You were all over the map before. You never knew where you were going to pop up.
It is a little bit, I can plan my day, around the schedule that I know now.
Oh, I'm excited for him because, in all seriousness, because you got to get your start, and this is a full-time opportunity, and now you got both feet in the door, and we all needed that. We all had that. Again, like this Joshua Baez, you all have a first time.
Yep.
Right? Mine was the Casa Grande Dispatch.
KTMS in Santa Barbara.
You all have your first opportunity. And, he's been knocking on the door. And the great thing about it is, as I've done my research on you to find out what you're about, who you are, and the big thing for me is overwhelmingly your work ethic. If I sense somebody is lazy, I have no respect for them. If I sense somebody is a hard worker, I'll give them not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but as many chances as possible within reason, as long as they're a hard worker. And so that's the thing that I want to see. And now you've got this opportunity. And I'm excited to see what you can do. Because you get to be my age, you want to help people. You want to give back. Because so many people helped you, in this case me, if I want to go in that way, along the way. And I want to see that same type of thing, if there's any way I can help anybody along the path. I did it with Christian, and now you're the latest. And I'll do it. And I've done it. I did it with a guy, and DJ can vouch for this. Then it freaking brought me to tears.
I was telling my wife about this the other day.
I helped a guy who is now on ESPN regularly, and he came on the air probably 2-3 years ago, and he credited me. And fortunately, I was on remote, and I wasn't here, so DJ couldn't see me wiping the tears. Not that it would have been a tad awkward, but that's how moved I was to know that my influence, he saw that. And I want to make sure I do the same thing for you going forward. That when I'm sitting there drooling on myself on a porch, I want to hear your name in 10 and 15 years from now doing whatever it is that you want to do, that you've worked for the opportunity to do it.
Maybe 30 when we're done. You might have to wait 30. Okay, 25.
I still think I can do the show when I have a little bit of drool.
Well, we've seen people in other markets fall asleep on camera while doing the show. I have seen that. That was something. All right, your feedback next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Woo! Oh, I was there. It's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. Everything you've got to say about today's show. None other than Pete Fiutak picking BYU to beat Notre Dame this season. Can it be true? Jared, if Notre Dame decides to show up,
I think Notre Dame will be here.
They may cancel so they don't lose their number 5 ranking and lose to a number 15 Cougar team.
I don't think so. I think they'll play.
Shane says it's going to be a good game. BYU has a good team this year. It could happen.
Sure it could. Why not?
Jared said, it'll be a great win for the Kitties if it happens.
Oh, yeah, it'd be an incredible win. Absolutely. Most likely an undefeated Notre Dame team. And you beat them at home for your fans and national TV. And it's deep enough in the season where, there's so much ramifications on stuff. Oh, yeah, it'd be gigantic.
I figured Jared had to be a Ute or an Aggie. It turns out he's got 2 schools, but it's not Utah and Utah State. It's Utah and USC, class of 2014. Taking shots at the Cougars. Kitties isn't particularly creative.
Right, and plus that's what we call Arizona, so we already got that. Cougars,
oh, you do?
Cougars aren't kitties. And they're mean, ferocious animals.
Jared, it could happen. Nobody picked BYU to beat Miami in 1990. Can they finally top the Miami win?
36 years later?
How big would it be?
Yeah,
where will Notre Dame be ranked? I'm holding on just to find out.
Oh, I think Notre Dame will be top 5.
When we come back, we'll have the poll for you. Scotty G and Tim next, right here in the zone.
All right, big finish.
Show's over, folks.
That's it. Go home, everybody. None of this ever happened.
Win big.